Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Battle School Dropouts. I'm Stew.
And I'm Bakari.
And today we're going to be talking about the first 7 episodes of Kids on the Slope.
Yep. Also known as Sakamichi no Apollon. How did you feel about this one, Stu?
Oh, man, I sure did feel like it was the best show I've ever seen.
Yeah?
Oh, man.
Episode 7 was pretty crazy, huh?
And you know what else? We also watched the finale of Attack on Titan. It's all over the whole show.
Hey,
man,
we did it.
It all is worth it in the end.
Yeah.
That's what I'll say. No spoilers.
Boy, I sure am glad the Crunchyroll Funimation merger happened. That doesn't, that's not going to be bad for media in general. The fact that they're like making it so that people who don't pay premium subscriptions can't watch anymore, that's fine.
That's good.
Even with ads. That's fine. That's good, actually. Yeah.
No, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
It's definitely good.
Yeah.
April Fools, everybody.
Hey,
we pulled
go.
a prank on you. We're not talking about the first 7 episodes of Kids on the Slope, like we said last time. It's an April Fool's prank so good that not only did we definitely trick you, because I assume you're not reading the name of this episode, but we definitely tricked you, and we also tricked ourselves.
Yep. I mean, the date that we're recording this has a 4 and a 1 in it, so it's kind of like April Fool's if you think about it.
We got them.
Yeah, I think so.
And
yeah.
we got us.
You got pranked. Yeah.
Yeah, so today's episode, we are going to be talking about the disaster of trying to watch anime today, and we're also going to be talking about 6 relatively new-ish shows. So, 3 maybe new-ish, and then 3 other things that we tortured ourselves with.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get into that in the anime section. Bakari, how are you doing?
I was doing pretty good until that fucking Demon Lord one. I tell you what,
Yeah.
that sucked.
Yeah, that sucked hard.
Yeah, not to I forgot the folksy expression. Give away the goose. Did people say that?
Not to goose him.
Not to hit him. Not to do an old goose on him.
Not to slap him over the face with a goose.
A goose in the hand is what I'm doing right now.
Damn, we're so good at phrases.
Yeah, we're a couple folksy guys. What was I saying? Yeah, I'm fine. I'm doing good.
Yeah.
How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. Honestly, this is like the perfect episode to have be the disaster episode, because we did genuinely get pranked. I think we've been talking about since the beginning of the show, like almost 2 years ago, that we were going to talk about Attack on Titan, like the ending. Like it started as a joke, it became a real thing, and then I had it on the list that we were going to talk about it in like April, May.
Yeah,
we were going to discuss the ending of Attack on Titan.
Yeah. That's not happening.
Joke's on us.
Yeah.
The show's just never going to end, apparently.
Freaking Will Smith slapped Chris Rock so hard that it delayed
Jesus
the ending.
No. You can't do this. You know how many people just stopped listening right there? We lost them, Bakari.
Yeah, like 4 of the 9 people who are going to listen to this.
Yeah, this is like going to be the Christmas episode. Like, there's no way it's breaking double digits.
I had a thought today, too, that like I think the reason why like the Christmas episode and stuff like that gets so very few views is like, do we actually put the names of the anime that we watch anywhere, like in the description or anything like that?
They're in the description. They're not in the title.
Okay.
Itself.
I wonder if like there's some like algorithmic stuff that like makes it so that like, even if someone was like, say, searching just random shit related to like Gintama, for instance, like they're not going to find it because it's in the description,
I think so. I think the description is playing less and less of a part in the algorithm.
Yeah.
You have to keep hiding more and more of it.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely going to put the word Isekai in the title.
There you go.
That's got to do something. There's
Someone's got to be looking for it if they keep fucking making them.
They keep fucking making, and I've been watching shitty anime for a long fucking time, and like I remember like back when we were at Uncle Junction, so this would be like 5 years ago at this point, practically, sitting down with my buddy Will, and we just put on Isekai. Just like new Isekai. We did basically what we did tonight.
Yeah.
And just watching it and being like, wow, this all sucks. And then doing it tonight and being like, nothing has changed. This is exactly the same night. Different people maybe, but...
Yeah, maybe. I mean...
You might be Will. I don't know.
I guess, yeah. I could be Will. Maybe all of us are a little Will,
We're all a little Will when you think about it.
We are Groot, right? Like Guardians of the Galaxy.
Hey!
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Isekai is fucking annoying. I want to go back to Attack on Titan. I was so fucking ready to talk about this show. I've been at this. I was kind of caught up for a minute. Like even like on season 4, part 2 or whatever that like that hadn't finished at the time, and I was like, oh man, and it's got all these fucking weird metaphors that don't make a lot of sense. And I was like, God, I'm so ready to talk about this. No. It's just never gonna fucking end.
No.
A part 3.
They
final
announced,
season part 3.
If anyone's not in the know, they announced that there's going to be a Attack on Titan final season. So final season happened. Season 4 started. They did their 13 episodes, whatever, and then that ends, and they're like, okay, we're doing a final season part 2 in 2022. Okay, great. So we start. 2022 rolls around. Attack on Titan final season part 2 happens, and a few episodes out from the end, they're like, actually. Final season, part 3, 2023. So the show's never fucking ending.
Yeah.
Like, what is a final... Like, the final season was a season ago. We're already past the final season. This is, the second final season, which is not final, because that's not what that word means. We're not on season 4, part 3. We're on season 6. That's how that works.
Right. Yeah. No, this is absurd. This is war crimes.
Yeah,
this is
war crimes.
This is war.
I'm about as traumatized by this as I was.
God, no.
You don't even get to it. It's over.
I cannot, dude. I had my phone. I had Twitter down. I tried to keep Twitter off my phone, but I had it on my phone because Platinum End came out. Our Platinum End episode came out like
Worst
the same day
timing,
the Slap came out. Fucking worst day on social media, dude. Just absolute garbage. Like everyone has had the worst hot takes, and then everyone also had like just uninteresting comments about people's worst hot takes. Like just the answer is shut up. It's not that interesting.
It really isn't.
We can't all be talking, but here we are.
Here we are. Yeah, and it was a really pervasive thing. Like it's just it changed history, really.
Yeah. I mean, they're gonna have to rewrite all the textbooks at this point.
Yeah.
We should stop doing like AD or whatever we are, and then like
this is I feel like this is the there was BC, there was AD, and then there's what AS.
AS, yeah, after slap.
Yeah, there it is.
God, we're both so funny. God, just really same wavelength on good jokes.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, fuck, dude.
I've activated the rule of threes now, so I'm gonna have to do one more. But we'll hold off on that one.
If you, people are gonna be waiting with bated breath for another fucking slap joke.
See this? I'm retaining engagement right now. That's what I'm doing. I'm doing this for the fucking the metrics.
Yeah. That'll be good for the algorithm there.
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, other than annoying, terrible animes and things like that, in some good news, we did watch Sonic 2.
We did. That fucking ruled.
Yeah.
That was so fucking good. I was beside myself. It was fantastic. What did you think about it?
I thought it was, I really liked it. So Saturday we watched Sonic 1, which I'd seen before, but it was still nice to watch. And then on Thursday we watched Sonic 2. So it was nice going kind of back to back like that. I still think I like the first one more at this point.
Really?
But the second one I thought was a lot of fun.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
What would you say you liked more about the first one then?
I think the first one's just a little bit more cohesive with its theme. It's about family. It's about, they're on a road trip and they're learning to connect and all that. And 2's a lot more bloated in terms of like its theme. Like everybody kind of has their own story and moments, and it's fun, but it's like, I don't know. I liked how tight and neat the first one was.
That's fair. It's like a pretty simple, straightforward, like thematically in the first one.
Yeah.
And, if there was like a moral of the story in the second one is that like friendship is also good, but good in a different way than it was in number one.
Yeah. Like it gets a little lost with dealing with all like the mass, like there's a lot more like exposition dumps in this movie, the second one. But I don't want to make it sound like it was a bad movie or anything.
Oh, sure,
I had a great time.
Yeah.
I take it you liked it?
I adored it. It was fantastic. I loved Sonic and Tails have some like really adorable moments, like the whole that entire thing in that like Russian restaurant, I don't know,
cabin?
Siberian thing. Yeah, the cabin bar, what have you. Like there was some really cute moments there. Like I really liked Knuckles. Like it was kind of a different angle for the character. There was a lot of like dumb little references that like, complete, like very subtle, but like if you were a freak looking for them like me, then like, they're very fun. A lot of like hidden little bits in the soundtrack to like reference Sonic 2 themes and stuff like that. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, there's a lot of fun little things in there.
Yeah.
And I like the angle that they played with Knuckles, too. I really like that dumb warrior who thinks he's the smartest guy in the room.
Yeah.
That's, like, I'm a huge fan of Drax the Destroyer from the Guardians of the Galaxy movies.
Yeah.
Knuckles is definitely a bit different than him, but it's both that same angle of, like, overconfidence, but also a big, beefy boy.
Yeah, like he's definitely kind of a jock character. He's not like, he doesn't come across, at least to me, as like stupid, but like, definitely kind of slow on the uptake with certain things.
Yeah.
And like true to his character in the games, very gullible. Like, he doesn't really know how to like tell when people are like trying to pull one over on him. If they say like, oh, the Master Emerald's in danger because this guy's going to take it, then he's going to go after that guy. No questions asked.
Yeah. He's got a job to do.
Exactly. Yeah. Which is very much how, like his role in Sonic 3. Like he's kind of an antagonist until the very end when Eggman like, reveals his nasty plot and then, yeah.
But Eggman would never betray Knuckles.
But he does. Mecha Sonic shows up and he gets on the Master Emerald. And he turns Super Mecha Sonic. Not going to get that in the movies, apparently. Yeah. I guess we shouldn't spoil it because the movie came out, but like this week. But post credits.
Oh boy.
Oh man.
I can't believe the level of hype that I was for that post credits.
Yeah.
Too hype.
Yeah, I heard one little bit. I can't say any of the dialogue or it'll give it away to anyone who knows. But like, there's like just one little bit before they even make the big reveal where like I actually like yelled in the theater, "No fucking way!" And then there it was. Yeah.
Yeah. Like we joked about it, I think in like the last episode or maybe the last couple, that like the Sonic cinematic universe is happening and like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm here for it. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it really does feel like this is the beginning. Like we're going to have the Charmy the Bee movie at some point,
And it's about time. It's about time. And we should get Jerry Seinfeld to voice him like the Bee movie. Yeah. It starts the exact same way. Like scientifically, the bee shouldn't be able to fly because its little wings can't carry its, and then it's just Charmy the Bee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a shot-for-shot remake of Bee movie, but with slightly different animation.
Exactly. Yeah. Just swap out the model of whatever the fucking bee is named in Jerry Seinfeld Bee.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
Barry?
right. What's
Barry?
I don't know. I watched it too.
I bet it's
tell
Barry.
you. Sure, Barry the Bee. Why not? Yeah, Barry Seinfeld. Yeah.
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 Comment down below if you know who the bee was.
Yeah.
That fresh meme.
Hey, anybody listening, if you like jazz, sound off in the comments. Hit us with your favorite jazz standard. This joke would have been even better if we watched fucking Kids on the Slope, now that I think about it, because that is a whole thing about a jazz band. But, oh well.
Yeah, what's funny with what we've ended up doing is I was actually like, we had a very straightforward plan for today.
Yeah.
We're going to watch 7 episodes. We're going to watch this really good anime. It'll be kind of a nice kind of palate cleanser sort of thing. And instead, we did the opposite of that. We had about 1 million technical issues followed by just the decision that we should suffer and watch garbage.
Yeah.
The opposite of jazz, in a way.
The opposite of jazz. Yeah. I mean, this is kind of like I don't really care about the whole like the culture war that's going on about like, oh, it is a moral imperative that you do pirate everything versus like if you pirate anything, you are an absolute scumbag. Pay for Crunchyroll or whatever. I don't really care about that debate either way. But like today was very much like a case for like, yeah, maybe we just find alternative methods.
Yeah, I think the smart thing to do possibly in the future, depending on what episodes we do, but like if we really got our shit in gear, right? Like if we really got things figured out. Like when I was looking up where Kids on the Slope was streaming, when I was looking that up, it was like, hey, you could also buy the Blu-ray for $25. And I was like, fuck, man, if we had our shit in gear, we've known we're doing this for a little while. It could have just popped on eBay and just bought it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, it would not have been that difficult. But I don't know if we said it already, but like as of like a week ago, the show was on Crunchyroll.
Yeah, every time I've watched it, it was on Crunchyroll. I found out about it through Crunchyroll.
And the funniest part is that we were going to record last week, but a couple things came up, so we couldn't record.
Yeah.
So now we're here.
And here,
So whatever plan came up that you had to go do that instead, whoever was involved, you get to blame them for the experience.
Yeah. I want to let them know.
But yeah, according to just a random Reddit post, so I don't know if it's true or not, that when Funimation and Crunchyroll got merged, I guess it's Sentai Filmworks or something that are the people who are like own the publishing rights for it. They cut all their stuff off Crunchyroll or vice versa or something like that. So maybe it'll be back on there soon, but
which is it's weird too because like I mean this isn't the first Crunchyroll Funimation like I'm doing air quotes merger that happened like back when Verve was like more of a thing, which was like sort of a streaming aggregate for anime and stuff like that. So like, you know, you could sign up for that and then like any of your other streaming services, you could just kind of watch them all in one place. When that happened, a bunch of Funimation stuff ended up on Crunchyroll. You could watch stuff like Cowboy Bebop and like, I only used it to watch Cowboy Bebop. There was some other ones that showed up. Samurai Champloo. I almost said Samurai Showdown. Samurai Champloo, stuff like that was also, you know, popped on there, which is now it's back because of Funimation, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's like, I don't understand how that cause and effect. I don't understand cause and effect rather. I don't know how one thing led to another and now Kids on the Slope isn't available on Crunchyroll.
Yeah. I think this is a dumb sentence, but I think there's more going on than we like realize. Like it feels
unlikely. I think. Yeah. I think I know just about everything that's going on anywhere. So
I think this feels like a merger that should be simple, right?
Yeah.
Anime website sells licensing rights to other anime websites, so now they should both just have whatever.
Yeah.
And I think there's just a lot more happening that's just throwing everything for a loop. I mean, all the top posts on like our Crunchyroll were people having issues with the app, people having all these different, and I don't know if that's the norm.
Yeah.
But like when you're just kind of scrolling through the top posts, it's like, what's going on? Like, was this merger like straight up like out of the blue, not just for us, but for Crunchyroll? They're just like, oh fuck, we own all of Funimation. Shit, when did this happen?
Yeah. No, it's bizarre. I don't know what's going on there. Crunchyroll announced, I think I mentioned this, like Crunchyroll announced that like very shortly after the merger that they were going to do away with the thing. Because like we have premium, right? But like if you don't have Crunchyroll premium, you were still able to watch a lot of anime, just you'd have to deal with ads. Like there'd be commercial breaks, whatever. They said they were doing away with that. Like you have to have a premium subscription, much like, you know, Netflix or something like that. You can watch anything besides maybe trailers. So which is like a weird thing. It's like we got rid of the number one competition. Now fuck this thing. Like pay us. You know.
Yeah, and it was a weird time for Funimation to sell too, because it kind of felt like they were starting to get their shit in gear. I know I never gave them any praise on this podcast, but like the streaming player was getting a little bit better. It still had issues.
Yeah,
it was still the worst, but it really felt like they were starting to want to put up some kind of a fight. Their catalog was getting a lot better, and they were like, fuck it.
Yeah, like Funimation had enough, like, you know, stuff exclusive to them that every once in a while I would still have to pop onto Funimation to watch something I wanted to watch, you know.
Yeah.
New Higurashi came out, had to watch it on Funimation, stuff like that. Like there were things to watch on Funimation for sure.
Yeah, well, and the funny thing was too, like I've jumped on Funimation like 2 or 3 times because like I'll have it and then my credit card will expire and I won't renew. But
sure, yeah.
Like for the dub of My Hero Academia, for Yu Yu Hakusho, and then also for funnily enough, I jumped on it because I wanted to watch the original Mobile Suit Gundam.
Oh,
like, wow, this is great! I can finally watch it, and I subscribed and everything, and then like learned that basically like at the same time that I had subscribed, it was on Netflix. Like Netflix had to acquire the Gundam rights.
Netflix has 0079?
Yeah.
What?
It's been on there for like a year.
No fucking way.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, and I was like, oh fuck. I guess I didn't need Funimation. Well, I'm paying for it, so I might as well watch it on that.
Yeah, I guess.
And then I just had it up until they merged. So.
One less thing to pay for, I guess.
Yeah.
I should just set up a Plex server and like do away with it. And like honestly, like you were mentioning, like, you know, Blu-rays, because like, you know, when I was first like getting into anime back in like middle and high school, like getting into it rather than just watching Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon when it came on TV.
Yeah.
like back then it was like really difficult to get like a physical copy of like, like say an entire series that you were into. One, because I was watching shonen shit that was like hundreds of episodes instead of 26. And also because like, it was DVDs back then, right? Now you can get like, I just picked up like Samurai Champloo and Kino's Journey, the original and the remake, or like the continuation. Each of them was like under $20. I just, got all of them on Blu-ray. I just have those, right? Like, not to say that that's easy because, we don't have, say, tuition fees or things like that to pay for necessarily,
Not anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Like, there's some other people who don't necessarily have the same amount of cash to throw around, but like it is getting easier. Reliance on these streaming services just hasn't really been the move, it seems,
Yeah, it's an interesting thing that like for a minute there, like a lot of people I knew who pirated stuff all the time basically stopped. They were like, because the streaming stuff was so good for a minute, right?
Yeah.
And then now it's really like, no, we kind of need more of a reliance on like physical media, or not that I would ever encourage anyone doing illegal stuff, but people who do pirate hold on to physical, like have media that could potentially end up not existing in the future. Like, I don't think it ever happened, but like, what was it? Little Witch Academia, the Trigger show that was on Netflix?
That was one. It was on Netflix. That's right.
Yeah. There was like, if there was some weird licensing thing where like if Netflix ever like took it off of Netflix, that it would be almost impossible to like get the licensing rights like for somewhere else. So if it stops being on Netflix, it like, this was just something I was reading. I don't know if it was true, but like that it would just kind of like stop being available to watch, and then it would just kind of become almost like lost media in a way. And like, I wasn't crazy about that show, but it seems like such a crime because it is like a good show.
I haven't watched the because they had two like OVAs, like just kind of one off, half an hour long, whatever, like short films, air quotes. And then they made a whole series out of it. And like, I watched the at least the first one. I was like, this is fun. Like, it's cute. It's didn't blow my mind like some other Trigger stuff, but like it was good.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, so you're saying there wasn't any like they didn't say do DVDs or Blu-rays or anything like that?
I mean, they might have and all that, but like, as far as like being able to stream it,
sure,
it would disappear. And I think that's the case for like a lot of digital, like the big example, like PT. That Konami demo that came out, like you can't download it anymore. Like it's just gone, and it's like, despite being a demo, it's like one of the best horror games ever made.
Yeah.
So like what like it does incentivize like, if you can pirate that stuff, if you can find a physical version that you can play forever. Great. Yeah.
And like, I'm just going to kill that thought. And it doesn't matter. I was going to go into like, the community around piracy and like how kind of interesting it is that like, it's how people kind of take it onto themselves to like preserve this media and stuff like that. But like, this isn't a pirating podcast or whatever. If you know, then you already know. And if you care, you can find it told by someone much smarter than me.
Yeah. And by all means, like too, like if you can afford to buy the physical media and you believe in something like this, I think it's worth buying in a lot of ways, like kind of saying like, I want more of this kind of anime, because that's where a lot of the money is returned for these guys. I don't know how much directly, like if I buy a Blu-ray of Kids on the Slope off the internet, how much of that is going to the studio, I don't know, but
I'm willing to bet that, because I mean it certainly is this way in music, like you could listen to, say, like, you like any insert band here. You like the pop punk band All Time Low. You love All Time Low. You could put them on Spotify and just like have them playing 24/7 day and night for like weeks, months, and you'd still not be supporting them nearly as much as if you were to just like buy an album, just one. I know. More so for like anything like, smaller like independent acts who like just sell their own stuff through Bandcamp or something like that. So I can only imagine it's kind of the same thing. Like buying something that you like is going to do millions of times more than like watching it on a streaming service where you pay $7 a month to a company that will pay out like a fraction of a cent per stream. Like you having watched the entirety of any anime series is going to give them at most like a dime. You know what I mean?
Yeah, especially with something like that. Yeah. With how bad streaming is. I remember I did some design work, and made friends with this guy who on YouTube was called Morejax, and he was like a Let's Play channel.
Oh, okay.
He had like in the range of like 3,000, 4,000 subscribers. So like he was getting views,
Yeah,
but
not nothing for sure.
yeah, and he's definitely getting views. And he had a Patreon, and like he would say in the videos, and he told me a couple times, like, if someone like donates like even $1 to the Patreon, it's like watching my videos like 1,000 times.
Yeah.
Or like 100 times or something like that.
Yeah.
Like it is such like the amount I make off ads at this point is nothing.
Yeah.
It's nothing.
Yeah.
You know, and he was like, yeah, like 3,000, 4,000 subscribers isn't like huge in YouTube, but that also puts you in like the top like 5% of YouTube channels.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like most channels don't, like 95% channels don't even have that many subscribers.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah, it's wild.
It used to be a much more profitable thing when it was like kind of smaller, and like there was like a whole vetting process. Like you had to have like actual humans check out your stuff and see if that was something that they wanted to like put ads on and stuff like that. And like back then, the number I heard bandied around, I have no verification if this is accurate, but back then the number I heard was $5 per 1,000 views, which is like, you know, I mean, if you make a couple thousand views like per video, that's like kind of whatever. But like, you know, if you got 1 million views, that's, oh God, math.
No. We are not a math podcast. I said it on the last one. We have to stop doing math on this podcast.
We have to stop doing math.
The thing that I heard, like, and this was like 5 years ago, at least with YouTube, is that like 1 million views.
$5,000.
There we go.
There you go.
The thing I've heard, and it varies from creator to creator, because everybody gets paid differently.
Yeah.
But the thing I heard was that 1 million views roughly equates to making like minimum wage, like working a 40-hour, like making minimum wage for like a month. So 40 hours a week.
A million view video per month equals minimum wage.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you get 1 million views a month, you're making about minimum wage.
That's rough.
That's brutal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I don't know if that's still the case. I don't know if it's true because you're like, as a YouTuber, you're not allowed to talk about how much money you make off AdSense, which is buck wild.
It's like, that makes sense. Like, you know, it's I'm sure a lot of these kind of monetization schemes have that sort of caveat. What surprises me is how very, very infrequently that rule is broken.
Yeah.
I have almost never heard someone on or off YouTube, you know, be it Twitter or whatever, be like, you know, so even anonymously, like, so-and-so made this much off of their YouTube, like, you know, AdSense, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, nobody breaks that. Like, I have to believe, like, Google has people who just show up at your house with a pair of pliers and fucking ruin you. Like, if you ever squelch on that kind of thing.
Well, and the thing, too, from what I've heard, is that if you lose your like Google AdSense account, like you can never get it back. There's no probation or anything like that. It is, if it's gone, it's gone. And you can, and if it's tied to your YouTube channel, that means that channel can never make money off ads ever. Yeah. So that's wild.
I couldn't imagine that. And that's why you guys should play Raid Shadow Legends.
Let's finally get to our sponsor.
Here we go.
Rap Snacks. Rap Snacks Shadow Legends.
Come on, Rap Snacks. Rap Snacks Shadow Legends. Now you're talking. Gotcha game, but it's Rap Snacks rappers. We got Cardi B. We got Migos. Each individual one. You can't just roll all three Migos in one. You gotta get Takeoff and Offset and Quavo, and then they combine into Migos.
Well done.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, and you can. Oh, okay. Hold on. And in the game, you can power them up by combining them with different flavors, right? So you don't just have Cardi B. You have like, you know, Cardi B and like cheddar barbecue flavor. You know, Cardi B. Ranch flavor, whatever. You know, it's about how you pair them with their flavors.
Because they got in most gacha games, you have like different power levels of these characters and stuff. So it's like, if Fire Emblem, you know, I got a 3-star Marth. Well, this is a 5-star Marth. So it's like same thing. I got the sour cream and onion fucking Lil Yachty, and then you get and then you get like the Memphis spicy barbecue Lil Yachty, and that's like, he's not from Memphis. I don't know why I said that. Atlanta, I think. I don't know what kind of food comes from Atlanta. Anyway, I think we're onto something here.
I think we're
Rap Snacks. Come on. How many times do I have to email you guys?
I know.
Come on.
Fucking, I found some Rap Snacks at like a convenience store a while back, and I messaged you. They were like a little baby cheddar or something chips. You know, your typical Rap Snack fare.
Of course.
And I was like, wow, okay, Rap Snacks are back. And then like I was eating them, I'm like, I don't think these are new. Like, I think.
Oh, were they like stale?
I think they could have been. Yeah, a little bit.
Just like Lil Baby. Boom, got him. Fucking yeah. I don't know anything. I haven't listened to Lil Baby before. If a Lil Baby fan hears this, I hope you're not too upset. I didn't mean it.
I can't imagine somebody being that upset about Lil Baby.
I don't know. Look, on Twitter, sometimes somebody says something like really kind of like whatever about like, I really like the new Cardi B song. And then you like look in the comments and it's everybody just screaming at each other. No, Lotto's better. No, Nicki Minaj is better. No, Rhapsody's better. Like all these just constantly just screaming at each other. These people want to kill each other over this shit. Like it gets serious. You say the wrong thing about the wrong rapper, someone will get your IP address and show up at your house.
Yeah, you know, it almost makes me want to just jump back on Twitter more regularly.
I think so. That's the move, I think. What we've learned from all this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that we can post our hot takes about Will Smith getting banned from the Oscars for 10 years.
Is that really the thing?
That's he did. That is fact. But I needed to fulfill the rule of threes there.
There you go. Yeah. Well, now it's funny.
There we go. Yeah, it wasn't before.
Fuck, man. So I've been reading manga.
Yeah.
Have you still been on the manga train lately?
Not much recently. No. I heard Chainsaw Man guy, the guy who wrote that.
I should know his name.
What? No. I feel like it starts with an I. Anyway, he put up a couple like shorts. Like there's like some, like I don't know, like couple chapter runs, like start to finish kind of thing that just went up on the Shonen Jump app really recently.
Oh, nice.
So I haven't checked this out, but I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I mean, Shonen Jump, just fucking, you can notify me about that. You don't have to keep telling me about One Punch Man for some reason. Like, I don't need those notifications every day.
Is the One Punch Man manga still going?
I guess. I don't know. I get notifications all the time about it.
I feel like that anime is like, I don't know how you bring that anime back after like just how much the second season apparently tanked.
Yeah. Because it wasn't the case that like somebody did it and then Mappa did the second season. I thought Mappa did the first and somebody else did the second season.
I think Mappa was the I don't know,
because I liked the first season.
The first season was great and people loved the first season, but then like the second one came out and like I saw some bits, like it wasn't quite, people were calling it like a PowerPoint, like it's just really not interesting animation at all. It wasn't as bad as people were saying. It definitely wasn't good either. It was very like, take your kind of bog standard, like, middle of the pack action anime and then dumb it down like just a notch and a half, maybe, like I'd rather watch Fairy Tail, and Fairy Tail is the most okayest anime out there, I think.
Well, and it's like, you're really spoiled for choice when it comes to like shonen anime.
Too true.
Well.
Yeah.
Like I watched more of Sabakui Bisco.
Oh yeah.
And I'm on like episode 10 or 11 or so. And Tim had said like, hey, you should keep going, but like I'm like, should I keep going or should I just watch something different? Like it kind of like stopped being that good, and it's like it's not like there's not more action shonen type stuff. Like
totally.
There's still a couple trigger shows I haven't seen, so I might as well go down that route. Just absolutely spoiled.
yeah. There's a whole bunch of shonen anime out there, and like a lot of good stuff going on right now.
Yeah. So I guess with like One Punch Man, like how do you bring that back? Because if it's not good, you're just buried. You know?
So like, if you were going to make a comeback, like you lost everybody who got into it from the anime, except the people who got so into it that they moved on to the manga after the anime stopped being good. And like, God, I don't remember the last thing I did that for. So,
well, and it's funny with the One Punch Man manga, because that was the first time I've like watched a show and then read the manga like pretty quickly afterwards.
Sure.
And it was like, oh, this is great because it's basically the same thing. Like these are almost like the storyboards for the show.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, if the show's not good, the manga's probably still good though.
Yeah. Especially if like, the show's kind of like missing that sort of kineticism that you get from animating something, right? Like if you're just going to be looking at the keyframes, I mean, you might as well just look at them the way that the artist intended to. No, I mean, I guess with One Punch Man, it's like kind of obfuscated because like the guy,
because the whole thing with that was like he drew it as like a webcomic and it didn't look great because he wasn't much of an artist at that time. But the premise was so good that another artist reached out to him or something.
Something like that, yeah.
And that's where it kind of took off.
Yeah, like as an actual, like, just honest to God, like action series, you know?
Yeah. I speaking of One Punch Man, I am genuinely surprised that it has gone on as long as it has. Because, like, so I liked the first season a lot, but by the end of it, I was like, okay, and the joke is over. Like, he can beat anybody in one punch.
That was kind of my thing, too.
You found all the ways to make that funny. The final battle was exactly kind of what I expected. Okay.
Yeah.
And I say this as, like, the bargain day joke is the hardest I've ever laughed at an anime.
That was fantastic.
It was so good.
But that's at like episode 3 or something.
Yeah.
And we got like 9 more. So
yeah, and they were fine.
Fine.
I'm not that interested in that world because it's kind of a parody of anime world, so it can only be I can only be so invested in it. If you like it, whatever, but it's always going to be like a mirror of something else.
There was a lot, like, you know, there was a lot that I could see other people getting attached to. Like, you know, people really liked Genos, and people really liked the sort of like underdog story of Moomin Rider, and there were some people real fucking horny for that green hair lady.
Green hair, like, child.
She's very small.
She's very small.
Yeah. Yeah, like I hesitate to bandy the word lowly around because, like, I understand there's a difference between a petite woman and a child, but like also we're telling that line a little bit,
especially with anime too, because it's so hard to tell what someone's age in an anime is.
Totally.
If they don't have like overtly like adult characteristics.
Yeah.
Like in that show Koikimo or whatever.
Koikimo. Yeah.
Koikimo, yeah.
Yeah.
Where a very clearly adult man is interested in a very clearly high school girl.
And there's like very clear signifiers, right? He goes to work at an office and he wears a suit and he speaks English with his international business partners.
Yes.
And she goes to a high school, and you know that because she wears a high school uniform and she carries a lunchbox and
she sits at a desk.
And she sits at a desk at a high school, you know? Yeah. Very clear. Like, and there's some others like, have you seen anything, or have you seen or heard of Violet Evergarden on Netflix?
I heard of it, never seen it.
Do you know the premise?
Not at all.
Okay, the main character is named Violet, I think. I think her name is Violet Evergarden. She wakes up.
It's easy.
Yeah, she wakes up. She's in the military. One day she wakes up in a hospital bed. Her arms are missing. The war is over. She, like, you know, was gravely injured, but they won the war. And now she had, like, the whole thing is like, she has to like go back to a regular job after, or it was like regular life after so much of her time has been spent embroiled in conflict. And so she gets a job she gets like a Full Metal Alchemist automail, like arms replacements. And she gets a job at a post office. And it's this very nice thing about like someone who's like kind of only known or like getting to live a normal life. Guess how old she is?
14?
Yes, actually, exactly 14. Yeah.
Well, and because I was gonna say it's so weird in anime because like I don't know shit about Green Hair Girl, because she only really shows up in like the last few episodes of the first season of One Punch Man. But like a character being a superhero is not an indicator of age at all in anime.
Totally.
You know, like you saving the world, you could be anywhere from like 2 to like 80.
Yeah, you can be an elementary schooler and save the world in anime. Like look at Beyblade, probably.
If Beyblades haven't saved the world, like what was the point of the show?
Honestly, yeah. They fucked up if those kids are not saving the world.
Okay, not to go on a side tangent because we're on a good topic. They're making a live action Beyblade movie is in the works.
No fucking way.
It doesn't mean it'll come out, but God, I hope so.
I sure. Is this like? Are you talking about like a Death Note live action or like? It's Japanese? Is it Hollywood?
It's in pre-production, but I don't think Netflix is involved at this point.
Okay,
so could be anything. This is the next Sonic. But anyways, so we were talking about age in anime.
Yeah. So like, yeah, you kind of rely on those signifiers, right? Like if somebody has a school uniform and wears a backpack and, you know, you see them in a school, it's kind of difficult to divorce the idea from your head that like, no, that is a child, that's a teenager. Violet Evergarden, she was a soldier, like not even like, snuck into like, you know, because she or whatever, like she was a soldier and wakes up and she's like, I need to go to war because that's what I do. And they're like, hey, you need to get a job because the war is over. And then we come to find out she's 14. Nothing was in. I found that out on Wikipedia, you know? Like, I was like, no, they must have gotten, that must be 24. No, she's 14 years old. Who would have known?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it is such a, like, no one is beyond the age of, like, 30 in anime. It's like, these are my parents who've been around, who've owned this house for 80 years.
Yeah.
They're each 30 somehow.
Yeah.
Like, It is such a bizarre thing that like anime is at the end of the day like made for like teenagers in Japan. So they're always going to be an age that is the demographic that they're trying to hit.
Yeah.
That's just the mentality. From what I understand, that's why Ash Ketchum will forever be 10 years old. It's not some kind of weird meta conspiracy. It's just because 10-year-olds like Pokemon.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's always going to be the case. But it is so bizarre in trying to tell adults. Like, imagine if it was like Spike Spiegel is 15 years old. Faye is 16, and Jet, the old man, he's 19. Like, like that sounds absurd. But if I jumped on the Wikipedia and read that right now, I'd be like, I wouldn't be that like surprised.
I did look that up. Spike is like 28, and I think Jet is like 36 or something like that.
The ages that you would expect them to be.
I would expect Jet to be a little. I would have expected Jet mid 40s, but
what'd you say? 39?
He's like 36, I think.
36. Yeah.
Maybe younger. He might be like 32.
Oh, you know what's fucking weird? We're almost Jet age.
Yeah, that was the crazy thing. Is like, it wasn't Jet. Like kind of got me, but like what really got me was I looked up the age of Sid from Final Fantasy VII, who is like very much he's like the blonde guy with the spear. He's very much characterized as like the old man of the group. He's like in his early to mid 30s for like definitely.
Yeah, well, it's like when we looked up like Oren like ages ago. We talked about this on the podcast.
Yeah,
he's like somewhere between like 28 and 34.
Yeah,
you know, and he's the old grizzled veteran character.
It made you think like, and that I had problems with because I was like, okay, Oren was a contemporary of Jacked, Tidus's father. Tidus is at least like 18 or something like that. And so like Jacked would have had to be like 12 when he had Tidus for this to match up.
I mean, it's not necessarily that Jacked and Oren were the same age, you know? But
yeah, but Oren wasn't that much younger than Jacked either.
I couldn't imagine. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's fucking. I mean, that's just fucking anime, you know? It's like you want everybody to be a young character for the most part.
I guess, yeah. I mean, there are a lot of like anime that like do not follow those tropes, right? Like there's plenty of anime like about adults. And it's kind of like a common like conversation topic I see on Twitter and stuff like that is people going, why isn't there anime for adults? And then people are like, yeah, I mean, there are. It's just you're not going to find it in fucking My Hero Academia. You got to look a little further, you know?
Well, and we watched the most adult... no, that's the wrong term. We watched the most show about adults. We watched Space Brothers, and both of us were like, eh. Like, we came away from that show being like, nah, show me the teenagers trying to, like, fight to the death to save the world.
That's a good point. Yeah, okay. Space Brothers in particular, like, because there's other anime that, like, you know, stars adults that, like, I'm very into. Like, you know, I really loved, like, Shigeru Death Frenzy and, like, Arakawa Under the Bridge is really nice. Like, there's some other ones that are, like, really great, but, like, you know, have you heard of either of those?
No.
Exactly. Right? Like they are not the main thing that people look for, you know?
Yeah. I'm curious. I mean, maybe these guys who know over in Japan who know their demographics are like, no, teenagers only want shows about teenagers. And maybe that's just the case over there. I don't know.
It's a little hard to believe because like, you know.
Yeah, I agree.
Like,
I don't agree with the words that came out of my mouth.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I don't know. It's a weird thing. Like industries, like kind of just go for what is the most like proven to be successful, not necessarily what could be the most successful. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Like risk taking is you know will often lose you money. So I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Not even as a gripe against capitalism kind of thing, but also, I mean, hey, if the boot fits.
Yeah, and it is funny because it's like, you know, I think a lot of people point out to the big risk takers that had such a big importance, like Cowboy Bebop, like Evangelion and stuff like that. It's just like, you know, it's great that they shows should take more risks, you know, because, and what we're not talking about are the 900 shows that were inspired by Cowboy Bebop and Evangelion that did not go anywhere because, you know, yeah, they took risks or whatever, but they didn't grab an audience.
Yeah.
So, like, it sucks, but at the end of the day, like, most people just watch, you know, Naruto, Boruto, My Hero Academia. Like, you're always going to be competing with those things, and you might not. And like, really, Evangelion and Cowboy Bebop came out at the right time and got lucky.
Yeah, totally.
You know,
yeah.
like you need both of those to have something like that work.
Yeah. I couldn't imagine something like Evangelion, like just the production value. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard for me to imagine something like Evangelion or Cowboy Bebop coming out and being like niche in any time. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. That like Evangelion was like struggling to even like keep its time spot.
Yeah.
You know, like that's a show that like everybody, if you put it on your top 10 list, you have to be a real fucking like hipster weeb to be like, oh, you like Evangelion? Wow, what an uncultured, you know, like it's a great show.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, one of the all-time classic greats. And yeah, like it's so weird to think that like, yeah, it could like it ran out of money at a point, you know? Like that's one of the greatest shows ever made. And like the last 2 episodes are just almost like storyboards.
The reason I've heard for that actually wasn't that it ran out of like money. It was that the episodes involved a story about a doomsday cult, which very like ended up a little too close to the sarin gas attacks.
Yes, but like that they couldn't be like, oh, just give us more money so we can make the other episodes.
That's a good point. Yeah, they could have like just delayed the episodes.
And maybe that was like a timing thing. But I mean, if Attack on Titan can just delay seasons forever, you know, Evangelion can't. You know,
they just they don't make them like they used to.
I know. Yeah. And I don't know. And I mean, in a way, you do get something kind of special. Yeah. I used to not like the storyboard last couple episodes of Evangelion.
I like them quite a bit, actually.
Yeah, I've really come around on it more recently.
Yeah. I mean, when I was first watching it at age, like, I don't know, 16, 17 or something like that, like, I saw those 2 episodes, I was like, huh. Oh, let's watch a movie, I guess. Like, you know, just kind of moved on. You know, I definitely wasn't in like death threat mode over it, you know, but I was just like, that was kind of weird, you know?
Yeah. Because, well, the thing too is like, ultimately my beef with it was that it was all building up to something crazy, and then those last couple episodes are very personal sort of episodes, and not at all subtle in the topics that they're trying. Like I always felt like what I like about Evangelion is that it deals with like things like growing up and being a teenager and dealing with like depression and anxiety, and wanting to live up to things. It dealt with it in a very like I don't want to say like subtle, but like in a very, you know, it wasn't just saying everything. And those last couple episodes are like, we're saying everything.
Shinji literally looks at the camera and says like, this is why I've decided I should we have more self-worth or whatever. Like, you know, he says like, I am worth existing because I exist or something. And everybody claps and, you know, show's over.
Yeah. And in a way it's silly, but in another way it's like, well, he does find a way to kind of affirm his own existence.
Yeah. Like we wanted to drive that point home and like we got there. It was interesting though that End of Evangelion went in the completely opposite direction. Like Shinji fucking sucks in that movie.
Well, what I like about that movie is that it answers that part for me. That was like, I wanted to know where all this angel giant robot climax stuff was going in the show.
Yeah.
And the show just drops that. Just like, you think it's all like, now it's time to fight the ultimate angel, or, you know, or some shit like that. And the show just drops it to talk about Shinji. And the movie kind of gave me that, you know, okay, time to go deal with all this angel shit.
Yeah. Well, there was so much about like this is just becoming the Evangelion episode, but
whatever.
Fuck it. What we have to talk about anime wise is questionable at best.
Oh boy.
But there's so many parts like, you know, the famous "I'm so fucked up" scene, like the part where like Asuka and Misato kind of take him to task for like expecting them to be like, you know, feeling great shaded towards him for piloting the Eva, up till the very end where he like wants to strangle Asuka and can't do it, or the part where he's refusing to get in the mech and Misato is like, hey, I'll fuck you if you do it, and he's like, okay, and then she, you know, realizing that she's about to die, she's not actually going to, but all that stuff, like so much of it kind of seems to go out of its way to be like, this kid fucking sucks, dude. Like, and you know, obviously he's got a lot going on. There's a lot going on in the world in general at that point, but it was interesting like how there was that much focus there. In contrast to episodes 25 and 26, which is all about affirming Shinji's existence.
The thing with Evangelion 2 is like it's such an interesting anime because not only is the anime and the movie itself like you know really well made and everything, but like when you start looking into the director Hideaki Anno and like his life and how closely like where he is in his life and what is happening in Evangelion are so closely tied. Like, you know, there's like the auteur theory that's kind of bullshit in my opinion.
Yeah, sure.
Is,
I don't know enough about it.
Well, it's like that the director is like the main source of how a movie's made.
Is that what auteur theory means?
Basically, like
I should know this.
My understanding of it is like a Hitchcock movie is a Hitchcock movie. All those other people don't really matter as much as Hitchcock.
Right, because he's the one calling the shots and telling them what to do. And if they turn in something that he doesn't want, then he can kick it back to them and say, do it this way.
Exactly. Yeah. But like movies are made by, and anime is made by like, dozens, if not 100 people or so, depending on what's being made.
Absolutely.
But I really do feel like Hideaki Anno is like so closely tied with what is happening in that show.
Sure. I don't know enough about his personal life. I know he voiced that guy in that Miyazaki movie. That's about it.
Yeah. He's a really interesting, very, he doesn't talk a lot. He's almost like Shinji in a lot of ways. Like he doesn't, he's not out there like talking about all these things directly, at least not at the time when it was being released.
Right.
But, you kind of like I've read some interviews, I've watched some videos where people have talked about like his life and like what he was going through just making Evangelion. It's like, all right, yeah, that tracks. Like he was like he was having like a nervous breakdown at those last couple episodes.
Wow.
It's like, those last couple episodes are weird.
Yeah.
So yeah, okay.
Sure, that makes sense. So you think that Anno like sees himself as Shinji, like in say episodes 24, 25, 26 and EOE?
I think not that he sees.
Or maybe it's not so easily cut and dry.
Well, no. I think when it comes to the show, to a certain extent, yeah.
Okay.
Like, I think he's really not that Shinji's like a self-insert character, but that Anno is kind of channeling a lot of the emotions and issues that he's dealing with in his life. Like my understanding is he felt very like isolated and very depressed while making that show.
Sure.
And so those are the same things that Shinji kind of goes through.
Yeah. Like everybody, like regardless of how abstracted that is, everybody kind of draws on their own real life experiences to make the things that they make. Or like, in order to write a feeling, you have to have experienced that feeling in the past, right?
Yeah. And so when episodes 25 and 26 come out, everybody's like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah.
Like, why did you do this? What the fuck happened? And to him, at least this is my understanding, to him, it sounded like what he put out there, it was like obvious. And the fact that like he put himself out there so like overtly and everybody's like, what do you mean? What are you talking about? It's like it reaffirms that kind of isolation and that like I can't connect with people.
Right.
And so then it's time to go make that movie.
And then it's time to make AOE. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so I think there's and again, it's where he's at mentally,
right?
Dealing with these characters and these shows is that's really his relationship with it.
Yeah.
Like, if people don't get Shinji, like fuck you guys.
Yeah,
like,
fuck him.
You like Shinji, but like fuck you. I'm gonna make him terrible.
Yeah.
I don't know if he said that or felt that way, but that's kind of the vibe I get.
Yeah, because I think it's pretty like a pretty limp-wristed analysis to be like, Anno made Shinji terrible in End of Evangelion because he was like, fuck otakus and anime sucks actually, or whatever. Like, I think, regardless of like how you feel about Evangelion or anything else that Anno has made, I think it's pretty obvious that he's passionate about his craft, right? Like,
yes. Just
to say anime sucks, like, point blank period, is a really, really simplified look at it. Reductive.
Yeah, I would say so too, especially there's a manga written by his wife. Miyako Anno. I can't remember her first name. She's
didn't occur to me that he was married to someone who also made manga.
Yeah, and they seem really cute, and her mangas are from the couple I've read are really good. But there's one. Oh, I'll edit in what the name of it is because it's really good. But it's a really cute manga about their life together.
Oh wait, I've heard of this.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah.
And it's a really cute thing, but it gives you a good. My understanding is they got married after Evangelion had come out and all that,
okay.
And so it's his life, and I cannot believe that guy would be like fuck otakus or whatever because he's just so in love with otaku stuff all the time.
Yeah.
Like she talks about all the time that he's doing like Kamen Rider poses and Ultraman poses.
Yeah.
And is so excited about all these really niche things. It's like the man's otaku through and through. Like maybe he's mad at how the audience reacts to his very emotional work that he felt very personal about. But to be like, oh fuck otakus or fuck anime or whatever, like that I can't imagine that man ever having that bone in his body.
Totally, yeah. Because I mean there's such a difference between like, the stuff like, the source material, right? Like anime, manga, gunpla, anything like that. Mm-hmm. And the communities that form around them, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is no surprise to anybody who's met me for even a moment. I love Sonic. I don't socialize with Sonic fans very much. And like, not to say every single Sonic fan is bad, but like, I've seen some conversations on the internet that make my skin crawl. I don't want any part of it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So I can be like, yeah, Sonic fan community's got to chill the fuck out, and like not be like, fuck Sonic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that would be such a childish and stupid way to look at like really anything. Like, it seems silly to assume that of Hideaki Anno or Hayao Miyazaki or anybody else. You know what I mean?
Yes, yeah. Because like obviously all that stuff, they wouldn't be making anime and they wouldn't be caring about all these things if they didn't have some kind of love for that craft.
Yeah,
you know. And like, yeah, Anno went on to do like live action stuff, but my understanding is he still did like animation gigs on the side throughout. Like maybe not as a director, but like he did keyframe animation for Miyazaki films. That's how he got his start.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So you know, he went on to and he directed the first episode, or he did the movie of Cutie Honey.
Oh yeah, that's right. That was him. Yeah.
So you know, he's got a love for all that old anime tokusatsu insanity.
Yeah, and even like, you know, the stuff that like, you know, he directed Shin Godzilla 2016, which was sick, and also like,
my favorite Godzilla movie.
Yeah, same. And like, you know, also like, you know, not to say it's just anime, but like, you know, to say that it doesn't share some DNA with like a lot of like anime and tokusatsu stuff would be like disingenuous, I think.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No, I love a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of the stuff that guy's made.
Totally.
Like, oh god, I love Shin Godzilla. We're never gonna talk about the anime if we start talking about Shin Godzilla and all that.
That's a good point. He was the voice actor for the main character in the Wind Rises, the Miyazaki.
Shit.
Yeah, that's him. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. We watched the Kingdom of Dreams and Madness, or Madness and Dreams, or something. It's a Studio Ghibli documentary, and it kind of follows like Hayao Miyazaki and Studio Ghibli as a whole, like kind of through the production of The Wind Rises, which was the last movie before he air quotes retired. He has since unretired, or
retired for like the 8th time.
Yeah, because like I think at the very beginning of the movie, he is retired, but he's still coming into the office every single day.
Yeah.
And like I think at some point he was just like, yeah, I'm not retired, so I'm going to direct this movie. And then, and there's like a whole scene where like, you know, they are like having a meeting, and they're like, okay, who voices this main character? And like they're throwing out names, and somebody goes like, what about Anno? And he's like, Anno? Nah, that's a terrible idea. Well, wait. do you think we should? Tell me if we shouldn't. Okay, let's do it. And then they pull in Anno. It's the next shot is just him in the recording booth. Yeah,
that's great.
And he was great at it. I thought he was a fantastic voice actor.
Yeah. Well, I would imagine again, based on that manga by his wife, like he seems like a guy who would like, if you told him he was going to be a voice actor, he'd be like, I'm ready. I've been practicing like Kamen Rider lines, and, like pretending to be all these different anime characters.
Yeah.
Like, I'm ready for this moment.
And then they make him voice like just kind of an engineer guy. He designs planes.
Yeah, which in another way is really good for him too, because he's also like he's like loves trains, and he loves like the kind of mechanical engineering and stuff like that.
Yeah, totally.
Giant robots and all that. So not that far off from
sure,
planes.
yeah.
So God, that's great. Okay.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting movie.
Well, do you want to talk about Studio Ghibli, or do you want to talk about these fucking animes? How deep are we into this fucking podcast?
We are approaching an hour.
All right, I had some thoughts on Ghibli, but maybe we'd save it for another day.
I mean, I don't give a shit. If you need to move on, we can move on. But like,
let's start talking about the anime nonsense that we just went through.
Okay.
If we go off on tangents, we go off on tangents. This is the disaster episode, everyone.
In every way.
This is the Isekai apocalypse that we just went through. So let's okay. So a recap of our day, real quick. So we were going to watch Kids on the Slope.
Yep.
It's not on Crunchyroll as of a week ago, as of recording.
Yep.
So we were like, well, we can sign up for High Dive, which is the streaming app that has it, or we can just do something different. And so the first thing I thought was, well, let's jump on Retro Crush. Retro Crush is kind of a fun thing. Let's jump on there. And we picked a show called Ambassador Magma.
Yeah.
Because the name, listen, I picked Eat Man based on the name. Let's watch Ambassador Magma.
Yeah, because Eat Man works out so well for us.
I was like, yeah, sure. I was kind of in the mood for like some trash after not getting what I wanted.
Sure.
So we started watching it, and this isn't on Retro Crush. I'm like 99% positive this was not an issue with their app. This is the fucking TV that we have and the way the Chromecast interacts with it, the aspect ratio of the TV is not like true HD. It's not 16:9. It's like something really close, but not quite that.
Yeah.
So we start watching it, and the subtitles are cut off on the bottom.
Yep.
Like if you have a sentence, you can only see the top of the words. So that's
got us again.
Got us again.
Got us again.
Fucking go, Retro Crunch. Yeah, banger of a theme song for Ambassador.
Oh yeah, that was great. Yeah,
it sounded It was like we're about to watch a Mega Man.
Yeah, it was very like Mega Man X4 type, like the PlayStation Mega Man X games for sure.
Yeah, like it felt more like a 70s, early 80s kind of anime, but like, hey, is this gonna be kind of like that Mega Man show from when we were kids? Hey, maybe that'll be.
You're talking about like the Super Fighting Robot one?
Yeah. A fighting robot. Da-na-na-na.
Yeah, my brother and I would get up at like 4 a.m. to watch that on school days.
Yeah.
And the Donkey Kong Country TV show.
That was weird.
Had a lot of musical numbers, like multiple music numbers per episode.
I remember when that show was coming out, like it was like there was some reason that my family was around. I was like, I want to watch this show. I don't know why. There was a brief moment in my life where I was obsessed with Donkey Kong. And so I brought my whole family around basically and forced them to watch the first few episodes of Donkey Kong, whatever they were airing that day. And looking back on it, I don't think anyone enjoyed it. I don't think I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was great. I loved just the insane fucking mocap that they had them do. Because like,
was that mocap?
I think so.
That would explain a lot.
Yeah, because they're talking and they're just kind of jumping around and like scratching their armpits and doing like very kind of archetypical, like this is what a monkey would do, I guess. I'm an actor in a mocap suit type of thing while they're talking about the crystal coconut or whatever.
Yeah, because it's from that really like dark age of like late 90s, early 2000s animated shows. CG animated shows where it's like you just have these incredible looking shows like Batman the Animated Series, and then you have fucking like Reboot and
Cubics, Robots for Everyone, Butt Ugly Martians, and
a lot of just don't be 3D. Don't.
I wonder, like, I don't know enough to say this for sure. Like, I wonder if it was like a cost thing. Like, is it cheaper to animate like a lot of episodes with CG something,
I think there was a combination of it being cheap, potentially cheaper, but I don't know about that one. I think there's also that like this is the cutting edge. Like
that's what I wonder. Yeah,
I know there's a big Reboot community out there that really, really like the show and would be mad at us saying that the show looks like ass.
Okay, that's one fan base I don't really care about.
Listen,
fuck you. Fuck you if you're an angry Reboot fan right now, eat shit. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, what are you gonna do? Like, you're a Reboot fan. Rethink your life.
Yeah.
But but like people do have a big fondness for that show because that was like kind of one of the first CG animated shows that was on like TV.
Yeah.
Still looks like ass.
Oh yeah,
it looks like ass. They fight megabytes or whatever. I don't give a shit.
There's a lot of that sort of turn of the millennium CG stuff that like I've kind of grown a fondness for over time. Like looking back at stuff like Cubics, I'm like, oh man, that sure was a time, wasn't it?
I don't think Cubics looked. I haven't seen it in a while. I don't remember Cubics looking that terrible.
No, yeah, same. And but like even stuff like the Donkey Kong Country show. I'm like, yeah, you know what? There was a time and a place. You know what I mean? It's just they were still figuring it out. Reboot looks like ass. That show looked terrible then, and it looks terrible now. Horrible.
Yeah. Well, and I think there's like a spectacle around the Donkey Kong show.
Yeah.
Because it's such a poor idea of like, well, let's CG animate Donkey Kong for some reason. Let's also have them sing constantly.
A lot.
What kid was like, I want a Donkey Kong show, and you know what I love about Donkey Kong was when they sing. I love the Donkey Kong rap from Nintendo 64. So
let's
bring in melodramatic singing.
Yeah. It was fantastic.
Hey, listen, I'm not going to disagree. It's quite the spectacle.
There was I guess a certain musicality to it in the sense that like, not only like, I think Donkey Kong has like always been kind of known for its music because David Wise is a fucking genius composer. But also like, The actual the games. Yeah.
Yeah. I was about to say, like, why the fuck do you know who made the music for the show?
Oh man, I wish that was something I had that I could just like pull out.
I'm honestly a little surprised, but
I'm a little surprised. That's something I should know.
No, I take it back. I'm relieved.
I'm gonna find that out. I'm gonna do a deep dive on whoever made those. Yeah. But no, like, you know, Donkey Kong has like always been like, you know, one of the more music focused. Yeah, you had like Donkey Konga. You have like even in like Donkey Kong 2, like Diddy had his guitar and Dixie had her. Dixie had the guitar. Diddy would like rap in his like little monkey voice, and stuff like that. So like, I could see the connection, but yeah, them having weird like musical numbers, like again, multiple an episode a lot of the time. Very, very bizarre.
Well, and in a genre of music that like kids usually weren't into, like these weren't like rock songs.
Oh, no.
These weren't like anything like that. Like they were a lot of times like the ones that I at least are coming to mind right now are like ballad type thing.
Kinda, yeah.
Like Donkey Kong singing to Trixie Kong or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I love you like a banana, and it's like, what is this song?
Candy Kong. Candy Kong was his love interest. Here's a Trixie Kong.
You know what?
Dixie Kong.
Hey, you know what? Let's throw in another fan base I don't give a shit about.
We will end you, Stu. Oh my god.
Okay, well, fuck.
Well, let's not talk about Studio Ghibli, but let's immediately get into a conversation about the Donkey Kong Country animated series.
The real studio.
Yeah, the Legend of the Crystal Coconut. Let's talk about that. Hey, Banana Slamma, everybody. Here we are.
So we couldn't watch Ambassador Magma. So I got it in my head that, okay, we'll jump on Crunchyroll. I was kind of looking at a couple shows. There were a couple ideas that came to mind, but then I was like, fuck it. We're spending too much time. Like, we only have so much time today, even though we're going to record 4 hours or some bullshit. Like, let's... Bakari, I'm gonna go to all on the scroll page, and I'm just gonna keep going, and you say when, and we ended up on a show called Koikimo?
Koikimo, yeah. It's an abbreviation of a much longer Japanese sentence that I don't remember.
Yeah, let me... I'm not going to look it up because I don't respect the show enough, but the longer name is something along the lines of like...
it's disgusting to call this love.
It's disgusting. Yeah, it's like disgusting to call this love. Yeah. And we're like, but this show looks cute. What is it? Oh fuck, dude! Do you want to talk about it or me?
Sure. So there's a main character. I don't remember any. No, actually, I do remember the girl's name is Ichika. I can't remember the guy's name.
Well done.
It's only because there's a guy on YouTube who plays guitar named Ichika Nito. So it's just like, oh, she's like the guitar guy. Yeah, he does like real good like math.
You had more of a connection to this show than I will ever.
That's about as far as I go, but I got that. So there's I'm gonna call him Blonde Man. No, I'm gonna call him Creepy Dude. Yeah. So Creepy Dude, he's
escalated so quickly.
Yeah, I mean. He was a creepy dude.
He was a creepy. Well, I mean, the show did.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So creepy dude. We see him. He's woken up from a one night stand with some lady he doesn't care about, and it makes it very obvious he doesn't care. She smoked all his cigarettes. God damn it! And then so later on, we see that he's working for some fancy business. He's speaking English with his international business partners. Blah blah blah. He's in the train station, and he gets bumped by a guy and almost falls down the stairs. And right before he's about to tip over, a very nice young lady grabs him, uses the crook of her umbrella to like grab him by the collar and pull him back from the brink. And then she gives him her lunch for some reason.
Yeah.
Because she thought he was
worried about him.
Yeah. She was like, oh, you must be about to faint from hunger. Here's my lunch, I guess. And then she runs off. Turns out she is friends with his sister. And when he comes on to her as like just because that's what he does, she rejects him because she's a high schooler and he's quite obviously not a high schooler. And thus he decides, I am now obsessed with this woman and will pursue her relentlessly. Relentlessly. And hey, it's a rom-com. So hey, let's get silly. This is a fun, cute thing, I guess.
It cannot be understated how truly, this is not an exaggeration. This man is quite literally relentless in his pursuit of this woman. Okay, we were talking about it earlier. We were talking about age in anime, right? Signifiers, right? Sometimes you just don't know the age of the characters that you're watching.
I knew hers immediately. You can just kind of glance at her and go, yeah, she's a kid.
Yeah, she's got a high school uniform on.
Yeah.
And the other guy clearly doesn't. Like, he's not even like, I just graduated high school. It's like, she's 17, I'm 18. And you're like, okay, well, maybe that's a little weird, but okay. fuck, dude. It is so clear that this man should be somewhere between like 22 and 26.
Yeah.
You know? Too old for a high school girl that is somewhere between 14 and 17.
Yeah.
You know?
I should say at least 22 to 26. We could be older. Who knows? You know?
Yeah. Who fucking knows?
Yeah.
Dude? It goes so hard unnecessarily, but like it tries to be so cute about it.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh, he won't stop buying her roses, even though she told him no.
Yeah.
Oh, he won't stop sending presents to the house, even though she told him stop.
Yeah. He does bump into her because he's like wandering around her neighborhood, ostensibly looking for where she lives or something. And like,
yeah.
We touched on this when the two of us were talking before we started recording. Like, there is like, you know, it's very not uncommon for, say, like, you know, girls approaching that cusp of like, you know, being an adult to like, you know, want somebody who's like, you know, to want to be with somebody who's got their life together and who's going to like, you know, be like just like a more older, dignified kind of person rather than someone their age. And like, this isn't exactly the first thing that like plays with that fantasy, right? Like we were comparing it to Twilight earlier. And like when you read Twilight from like an objective eye, it's like, oh my God, this guy's terrifying. But like, in the context of it, it's harmless fun because who cares? It's a fucking, you know, romantic thriller. So like on that end, I want to try and like, there's a part of me that wants to be like, maybe I shouldn't be shitting on this if that's what they're aiming for. Like if they're aiming for that market, but like, I wouldn't want to look at this as something like, you know, as something that like, say a 16, 17-year-old girl should be watching, like, you know, as a, not that I should have any say in it one way or another. I'm not a dad,
right.
But like, you know what I mean? Like, I know there's levels to it, but also our gut feeling, I think we agree, is that this is creepy as shit.
So like that level's kind of strange, but like you were saying, maybe there's something there where like I've had friends who like have told me that when they were high schoolers, like the idea of dating like a guy in college seemed really cool.
Yeah.
Right. That they're more mature than the high school people around them.
Yeah.
So, okay, to say that there's like that's just like no girl would ever have that fantasy is like just wrong. Like obviously some girls are into it, and sure, if that's your thing when you were in high school, you do you whatever. I don't give a shit. Where it gets really uncomfortable is okay. So A, you shouldn't be trying to court high schoolers.
Yeah.
And then B, if a girl says stop, you stop.
Yeah.
You know, no means no. I'm not even trying to like. He's not trying to like do anything to her physically, but like she clearly does not want to be around this man, and it's played for a joke rather than something serious.
Yeah. And like I think that kind of taps into another fantasy kind of thing where it's like, you know, there's a guy that no good trouble guy, and like, you know, he's no good, but like he is real attractive or whatever, and you say like, oh no, don't you fall in love with me, and he's like, oh, I'm gonna do it anyway, and then like, you know, he pursues you until you relent, and it's like this sort of like, it's not a consent thing, but then like, you know, you don't actually, and again, only ever works in fiction, and even then with a very delicate hand.
Absolutely.
You know? And that's the ultimate thing is like, these are some kind of transgressive topics that have been handled in like a lot of other fiction a lot better, I think.
Yeah. Especially after watching something like My Love Story, which is a guy who's a bit of an idiot, but like really cares about his girlfriend, and like really cares about not doing anything that would make her uncomfortable. Right. And I think there's also an element too of purity to a certain extent, that if she does just take this guy's advances, that's not what an upstanding girl is supposed to do.
That's another thing.
It still feels like, so if you're going to stay pure, you want a man who won't listen to you when you tell him to stop? Like, that just feels gross and wrong and weird. I
hate the phrase like devil's advocate, but this is me like trying to view it from the most charitable lens possible.
Yeah.
That like, say you do see like a guy who seems like no good, and he's like got that sort of sleazy charm to him, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like him pursuing you despite the fact that you've said no so many times in a non-threatening way, in the way that he is, again, only ever works in fiction. Him doing that shows his dedication, like the fact that he's actually serious, and this isn't just him trying to hook up and like, you know, ghost, right? I think that's what they're going for. I don't think it lands.
No, I agree. And I think if we sound wishy-washy or anything, I think part of it is like we are two 30-year-old men talking about a show that is aimed at teenage girls.
I think it is. Yeah, I think it is primarily aimed at girls. I would be surprised if this was supposed to be like a shonen thing.
If we look at the genre and it says shonen, I'm gonna lose my shit. But no, I don't think it is. I think it's fucking fingers crossed aimed toward teenage girls. And so it's tough because like I've never been a teenage girl. I'm sure that surprised a lot of people, but I've never had that experience.
Yeah.
So I like teenage girls get shit on constantly for the things they like. So I don't want to be like, if you like this show, you suck, but also, holy fuck, are there some weird things? Yeah.
And like, I guess if say you're like, someone like a girl age 16, 17, say, yeah, it would be cool in a like, fictional wonderland where there's no consequences for anything. Like, yeah, I could date a college student. I could date like, I could be like pursued by this guy and I know it's not like going to end in my murder or something because again, fictional wonderland. Then I could like, see viewing this as like a kind of cute, like romantic comedy kind of thing. As someone who like, as people who kind of know the terrors of the world and stuff like that.
Who know how terrible men can be.
Who know how terrible men can be, right? Like then it takes a far more sinister lens. Like, and so like you're saying, like, I think we're trying to factor that in when we talk about like our sort of distaste for this show. Cause I mean, so like, I think it's really awesome that there is stuff that is aimed at teenage girls, like any kind of type of graphic, you know what I mean? Like, I think that's really cool, but rather than trying to like please everybody, you know what I mean? But yeah, so it didn't feel good to watch, I guess.
That wasn't a fun one.
And there's a couple little bits where I'm like, that was kind of nice. Like if this was like a friendship, if he wasn't so creepy, or like if she was just like, I don't know, maybe like he was 26 and she was 21 or something, like, like
sure, yeah,
many other like ifs, but like there's the moment like he's following her, like she knows he's there, but like they bumped into each other. She's on her way to the grocery store, he tags along, and he's like, hey, what, like, ask me something, I'll do anything for you, what do you want? And she's like, okay, there's one thing. And he's like, okay, name it, let's do this. And she says there is a sale going on eggs. You can get a dozen eggs for 100 yen and it's one per customer. Could you buy me a second dozen eggs so I can bring them to my mom? And he's like, yeah, done deal, sure. And like that moment was really cute. I'm like, oh, that's sweet. Like, she's that was kind of the first thing we got out of her, besides the fact that she likes anime and comic books, is like, oh, she's like a really kind of down to earth, frugal kind of person. Like, she gets the type of teenager who gets excited about a sale on fucking eggs, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, this is kind of nice. And then they have a conversation like where she makes a kind of like dorky, like, something about power levels or something like that, because again, she likes manga, and he like plays along with it, and it's like yeah, and like she kind of goes like, oh no, I said something embarrassing, and then he plays along with it, and it's like, oh, okay, that was kind of nice. In that same scene though, they're walking past someone who's handing out like free samples of like some kind of hot dog thing on toothpicks, and she takes one, eats it, sticks it in the toothpick receptacle, and we see the guy staring at the toothpick she has just put down, and it is quite clear that he is contemplating picking up and saving that toothpick because she has put her mouth on it. And that all of a sudden, anything cute about this whole scene is out the fucking window. That's terrifying.
It's a show that constantly goes like a bridge too far. Like even if you're like, fuck it, I don't give a shit about like the fact that there is this definite age difference between them that is illegal in most countries.
Yeah.
Even if you're like, I don't give a fuck about that. They're cartoon characters. They're not real. Even if you feel that way, it's still weird how hard this guy goes, and that how he gets so excited at the end when she's like, he's not entirely bad.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, so she must like me a little bit. He goes over the moon about that.
Yeah.
Like, bruh, you're in too deep. Like, stop.
Yeah.
If someone's like, yeah, you suck, but only 90%, what are you doing? Like, you're just gonna wear this person down? Like,
yeah. I mean, that seems to be his plan, and she seems to kind of like know that a little bit, and is like, oh, okay, I guess, but like,
and that's got to be the trajectory of the show.
Of course, yeah, 100%. Yeah. I mean, again, it's like, it's one of those things. It's like, we're in a fictional wonderland. It's going to be a cute, fluffy romance thing all the way through. I do not think that in the third act he turns out to actually be a fucking stalker killer.
Yeah, he's like, come down to my basement. It'll be really cool.
Yeah,
ignore the chains.
Exactly. This series does not end with her like skinned and murdered or something like that, right? Yeah. Thing about transgressive media is that like you get to like go into situations in your brain space that like you would never, ever, ever, not even about transgressing media. The most tame plain Jane action series, if I went through anything like that in real life, I would be traumatized for like ever.
Absolutely,
right?
Yeah.
Like, so like, you know, it's the same thing as like, oh yeah, I wish I could fucking fight with a vampire on a rooftop with laser swords or whatever. And it's like, but again, if that happened in real life, I'm dead. I'm absolutely fucking dead, or at least traumatized for it. So it's like, there's a lot of things that like we shouldn't be looking at it through the lens of like, if this happened in real life, that would be bad. Like, cause yeah, no shit. On the same lens, whatever they're trying to go for, like even looking at it through that lens, I sure was not biting.
Yeah.
Don't want to shit on it too much, but like,
we have been. It's too late.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
Whatever.
But I guess I wouldn't go out of my way to like, oh, you like that show? Mm-mm. Unless if you're like a guy my age and you're like, oh yeah, I love the show, I got questions.
If I meet a 30-year-old guy who's like, oh, dude, I love Koikimo, it's like, stop, dude. Like, that's just such a red flag at an anime convention. Like, someone's like, oh, dude, you got to watch Koikimo. It's like, we're done. I'm not talking to you anymore, stranger at an anime convention.
Yeah.
I could listen to you talk to Naruto for about an hour, but this, bridge too far.
Yeah, I would have to really interrogate what you see in that show, you know, at least.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if I want to get in.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd want to.
With
honestly.
A stranger, yeah.
Oh, not with a stranger at all. Like, if someone, like, you know, who was, like, close to me, who I already know, was like, oh, yeah, I love Koikimo. It's just like, why exactly? Let's have a dialogue about this. What's going on? Yeah. But, you know. Yeah, anyways. that's Koi something Kimochi Warui. It's disgusting to call this love.
Yeah.
It did just occur to me that the very, very, very beginning of the episode, though, starts with her doing this sort of like retroactive narration of the events at the beginning. And she ends that sort of monologue with, I have nothing but regrets.
Oh.
So now I'm a little...
Oh, my God.
Now, that just occurred to me. Now I'm a little more worried.
Maybe it's a long con kind of show. Maybe it's like, hey, ladies, watch out for dudes that are like this, you know? I don't know. Maybe. I mean, that would be a lot more real, I guess. Yeah, but we were initially, I clicked on that episode. We're like, fuck it, let's watch 6 episodes. We knew nothing about it.
I saw a heart and the word koi, and I was like, hey, romance.
Can't be that bad.
Sure.
We were going to watch the full 6 episodes. This was going to be the Koikimo episode.
Yeah.
We watched that first episode, and we were like, nah, fuck this.
I ain't watching 5 more episodes of that. No way.
So we decided, let's look at what's new. Let's go down in Isekai hell.
Yeah, that's what we did.
I got to pee.
Okay. Now that Stew's gone, anybody see the Kingdom Hearts 4 reveal trailer? Oh my God. Sora has to pay rent. This is insane. I'm glad to see Darkseid showing up again. Who was that at the end of the trailer, do you think? It was Hades, maybe? I saw the blue fire and it turns into like orange. So I guess Hades would make sense. It's only in Japanese as of right now. So like, I don't know what Hades' Japanese voice actor sounds like. I guess I have to look that up. But yeah, cool to see Kingdom Hearts still at it. Don't know how this fits in with the rest of the story, but I'm excited to play it. Unreal Engine 5 looks real neat. Yeah, the traversal mechanics that he's doing, the new like flow motion looks really neat. That looks really cool. I think moving around is going to be really fun in that game. So yeah, looking forward to that. I don't know if this. I think I'm just saying this to Stu. Like if Stu ends up editing this, he could probably hear me right now. So I don't know what's going on.
You doing this podcast without me?
I'm just talking about Kingdom Hearts while you're in the bathroom. Yeah,
of course.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
This Kingdom Hearts 4 trailer came out.
No, there was.
Actually, yeah.
Holy shit!
Yeah, they came out this morning.
Kind of rad.
It's interesting. Sora wakes up in what seems like modern day Tokyo. He's like in an apartment. Might have to pay rent. I don't know. And
all right, so it'll be the Resident Evil 5 movie of Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, or cool. Something. But then like a big Heartless shows up and he's like, oh right, I have a Keyblade, and he like goes to fight it. It's an Unreal Engine 5. It looks real neat.
Unreal Engine 5 just came out and fuck, it looks impressive.
It sure does. That Matrix thing is supposed to be great. I haven't fucked with it yet.
I haven't tried it too much, but so I got really into Unreal 4. Trying to learn, earlier this year, trying to learn how, because like it's got motion graphic capabilities and stuff like that. Some people use it for that stuff, and it didn't quite click with me. But I was like, this is an impressive program, and it got me learning more about the Unreal Engine and stuff like that.
Yeah.
If I mean, I know game companies always lie about the capabilities of the stuff that they have, but if they can do like half the things that this thing says it can do, fuck, dude. Like, video games are going to be pretty sick in the next few years. Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
This year has already been a great year for games.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. Like, I played so much good shit this year. Even the game I was most hyped about, like Total Warhammer 3, I was like, this is really good, but like you got competition, buddy.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Good shit.
We didn't really do like a what we've been playing segment in this episode.
Yeah.
But like, fuck, dude, like Elden Ring and the new Kirby and fucking Sifu and like all these games coming out. Just amazing.
It's a fucking killer time to be a gamer.
Absolutely. Yeah. You're the gamers 2022.
It's finally rise up.
Our time has come. Gamers rise up. That's what they were talking about right now.
Well, when I think about video games, I think about dating sims. And I think about how tough it would be if I got trapped inside of a dating sim. I wish they would make an anime about something like that.
But what if not only was it a dating sim, it was an Otome game.
Otome game. Yeah. Well, damn, flawless transition.
Absolutely.
I'm patting myself on the back on that for that.
You gotta kill that one. Yeah. Well done.
Okay, so I did. So the next fucking anime we fucking watched was Trapped in a Dating Sim. Something. It's tough for a mob in an Otome sim or something like that, or Otome games, or what is an Otome game?
Otome, if I remember correctly, Otome literally means little sister, but it actually,
oh fuck,
in actuality, what it means is that it's basically, so a dating sim usually involves a male protagonist. And there's like, between 3 and 7 lady characters for him to try and woo. This is exactly the opposite of that. One female protagonist and a bunch of guys.
You play as the female protagonist.
You play as the female protagonist, and you're trying to woo one or more of very handsome, usually kind of effeminate dudes.
Yeah.
Bishonen, they're called. Pretty boys.
Pretty boys. Yeah. Okay. And the whole opening of the show is a guy playing an Otome game
because his sister wants to see the ending of it but doesn't want to actually play through the game. Typical fake gamer.
I'm just gonna totally play the video games, but I actually need a man to do it for me.
Yeah,
classic gamer girl move.
Fake girl. I don't even want
to. I said that joke and I was like, cool, casual misogyny. That's what I needed. 3 hours.
Nice. I just said fake gamer. I didn't even bring her sex into this, Stu.
Yeah, well, you have gamers and you have gamer girls. We've talked about the two genders before. I'm bringing them back. Good. And I'm sure everyone who's made it to this point is really happy that I did that.
Yeah, absolutely. So she pays her brother... She pays her older brother to basically boost her to 100% this game. He buys the DLC and everything. I can't even remember what she gives him for it.
I didn't even catch that part. I was so disinterested. The dude is just hating the game the entire time he's playing it. And to which I'm like, why the fuck are you playing this game? I didn't realize that the sister thing was involved. If you don't like... Gamer tip for pro gamers out there: if you don't like a video game, you can stop.
You could just not play it.
You can just be like, sucks that I spent X amount of dollars on it. I don't have to spend more hours on it.
If you bought it from like GameStop, they have like a return policy. Actually, you can give them back the game, and they will give you back the money. You could even, in that same visit, buy another game with that same money they gave back to you. So world's your oyster.
Even Steam, which has like the shittiest return policy, has a return policy.
They do, yeah. Amazon, I'm sure, Best Buy, Walmart, Target, all of them.
GOG
probably
has a pretty good one from what I've heard.
Do they? I've never actually...
I think you can return it up to like 30 days or something.
Oh, that's good.
I'm talking out my ass on that one. I could be very wrong.
Yeah, who knows? But this guy probably could have returned that game.
He could have.
But
you don't have to play a game.
Yeah.
You don't have to.
But he's being paid to boost... She wants to see the final like scene from it.
YouTube.
But, so here's the thing. There's other, like, not dating sims, of visual novels that I've played. And I've kind of been like, you know what? I kind of just want to see the end of this route without necessarily playing through the whole thing. I feel like there's got to be some sort of fucking, like just unspoken rule about this or something like that. Some of them are really fucking hard to find. Just the uploaded, like, this scene, like, House of Fata Morgana ending, bam, like, there it is. Like, no, it's sometimes it just doesn't exist.
Well, I don't know that feeling because the only dating sims I play a lot of like hentai dating sims and stuff like
Sure.
that. And all of the endings, everything is on like Pornhub.
Really? Oh, sure. Yeah. I guess if there's porn involved, that's probably like
It's out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can like sometimes if I'm like this game's boring, I'm like, well, I supported the person.
There you go. Yeah, that's the important part.
I can feel morally good as
Yeah.
I watch stuff on Pornhub.
Yeah.
But anyways,
Let me say real quick also, it's weird how certain visual novels have porn scenes or hentai scenes as like as a reward for finishing like an arc of it or something like that.
well, and especially in one that doesn't seem like it would. Like,
Exactly.
like if you're jumping into a game and like it's covered in like girls in bikinis and the bikinis are barely functioning,
Totally.
like okay, if you see a sex scene in that visual novel, sure.
Yeah, sure. You kind of expect that from the cover. Yeah.
Right.
There's other stuff I've played and like gotten to a point and I'm like, I'm just enjoying this story. I'm several hours in. I'm like, wow, this is dope. And then all of a sudden the characters are fucking. I'm like, I didn't want this.
It's not what I was aiming for.
Get out of here. Like, because I mean, a lot of the time I notice the ones that do that don't necessarily even have the best art. Like, not to say like we talked about this before with Tsukihime. Like, Tsukihime's art is fine. It serves a purpose and it does it okay. But like, I don't look at any of the lady characters and go like, I want to see them fucking, like that's just not what I'm thinking. I'm just like, oh, they're vampires. They got special powers. Cool. Let's see them fight.
You're too pure, Bakari.
I guess I'm too much of just a puritanical old man. I can't handle this stuff.
Get sex out of video games, Bakari 2022.
Exactly. I'm gonna be the let's pull this one out of the past. Jack Thompson. I'm gonna be the Jack Thompson of sex in video games. That's me.
Yeah. I'm excited for when we become deeply conservative in the near future.
Yeah, in the next like 6 months, I think.
Yeah, I think it's coming for us.
Yeah.
I mean, we're two men in our 30s and with a podcast. I did a little bit of casual misogyny.
Hey,
time to go all the way.
Yeah. So Stu, tell me why you are a high value male.
Well, it's because I watch great shows like Otome, dating sim, trapped in a.
Really killing it with the segues today.
Honestly, especially when I remember the name of the show so well. So, okay, jumping ahead, man falls down the stairs and presumably dies.
Yes. Wait.
He does not get saved by a girl with an umbrella.
Shame.
So,
well, for the best, probably, I guess, given the last guy.
Well, and especially, okay. So the whole thing is, we're going to deal with this with a bigger deal in a later show. But the whole thing is like, so he dies, he goes to another world, and he realizes, oh my God, I remember who I was. And then he lives like 10 years. He goes from 5-year-old to 15-year-old or whatever, anime protagonist that he's like, I know everything about this world because I 100%ed that game. And I'm just on that path. And he's like, but I'm just a regular mob. I'm just, like mob being a reference to like MMOs having...
like trash enemies, just like
like you're not a boss, you're just a guy.
Yeah,
that's a mob. I don't know why they're called that, but
I always thought like mob was like because there's a bunch of them, right? Like because I mean in MMOs like when you're going
that's
through
probably
a dungeon,
what it is,
right?
That makes sense.
Like when you're going through a dungeon, like those mobs are like things that you like your tank goes and picks up like 30 of them, and then the DPS and everybody just like kind of like nukes them with all their AOE abilities, and it's like so okay, any one individual one of those isn't really worth engaging with on its own. You engage with them in large groups, right? So mobs, right?
Mobs, yeah.
I didn't know that was ever used as a term in dating sims. I guess I'm out of the loop there.
Yeah, it seems really weird because it should be, and maybe it's a mistranslation or something, but it feels like it should be like NPC, non-player.
That
character.
makes sense, right?
Yeah, like I'm just a side character. But he like talks about how he's like I'm just a side character, blah blah blah. And then halfway through the episode, goes on a magical quest where he shoots fish with guns. He shoots robots with guns. He just uses a gun constantly.
A magic gun with magic bullets that he was able to casually find on the way.
It's so dull. Like there's a part where he's like, oh no, it's a queen carp. He pulls out a gun and he shoots it.
And it just
like,
explodes.
Oh no, a deer. Like, who gives a shit, dude? What's the threat? Don't try to make that scary.
Yeah, and the idea is that like because he's played the ever living shit out of this game, like he's maybe beaten it. Okay, so he knows everything about the game. He's like basically a walking strategy guide about this game, despite having lived, that was 10 years ago for him, right? Because like he's born in this world and then 10 years, or he wakes up in this world, 10 years pass. But like, so, okay, he's got sort of the Kirito thing where like he has knowledge that nobody else has.
Kirito being Sword Art Online.
Yeah, Sword Art Online. He played the beta test of the game, and so he knows a bunch of stuff that the other players don't.
Okay.
They call him a beta cheater or a beater for short. Anyway. Much better isekai anime. Let's put that out there. Throwing down the gauntlet. Yeah, so it's like, and we dealt with this trope a lot today, at least in this and one other series, where it's like, okay, I'm a totally ordinary, nothing special about me kind of guy, and I have deep comprehensive knowledge of all the inner workings of this game, of like this world that we live in, and the way, like the fabric of reality itself is kind of my beck and call. Like, you're not an ordinary guy, my guy. You are like God in this world. You know everything that's going to happen.
Right. Like, imagine if you like not only like knew the future, but also like whereas like humans now are like, wow, quantum physics, like we don't really understand what's happening.
Yeah.
Imagine knowing that down to like every single level. Like, oh, this is why, the readouts are like this. This is why, you perceive it as two different things, but really it's this. Like, imagine having that knowledge just tucked away. Like, it was simple.
Yeah.
Like baby mode. But then be like, don't worry, I'm just a regular guy. Like, you're not. You're literally
you
not.
Absolutely
you
aren't.
know the future. Fuck you. Like...
Yeah, because like the whole thing is like, we forgot to mention this. It's this interesting, like seemingly intentionally like backwards sort of society, backwards compared to ours. I mean to say, where like women are sort of the ruling class and like men are this like,
it is super backwards. Get the ladies out of here.
I mean, like what I mean to say there is that like it's this like inverse of a lot of this sort of archaic, social structures that we've had. So like these guys are kind of married off to powerful and affluent women and stuff. And the whole thing that kicks this off is like, his mother in this universe is like, all right, boy, you're about to get married off to this awful old disgusting hag, and if you don't, then you're gonna go to war and die or whatever. And he's like, man, being a man really sucks. How do you deal with it, Dad? And he's just like, his dad is just like, gosh, I'm just lucky that a rich woman like your mother was willing to kneel down to marry me, and it's like, okay. So he sets off to find a bunch of riches so that he can attend some elite magic academy instead of being married to this lady who's like way older than him.
Yeah, it really is like what you get out of like a plot like the Cinderella movie, where like a girl is gonna go out on her own and make her own thing happen, and and she's gonna do it in a man's world, and it's like you're saying, like it's backwards, it's reversed, it's the inverse.
Yeah,
but like it feels weird because the norm is still the norm. So it's like, it doesn't feel like he's really breaking some big social taboo. It feels like he's just doing what men usually do in adventure shows.
Kind of, yeah. Yeah. It just doesn't make a lot of sense.
It seems like he's just doing what men do in most adventure shows, and also his mom's an asshole.
Yeah.
Like...
and he's got this sort of really like... Now, people get the meaning of this word confused. When I say antisocial, I don't mean like introverted. I mean, he like seems to really hate just about everyone around him.
Yes.
And like
the episode of the name of the episode is called "I Hate This World."
Yeah, exactly. Like he is a very like, at least in the world of this Otome game he's in, we don't know really who he was beforehand, but like he's a very misanthropic young man. He just kind of hates everyone and everything around him, and kind of sees them as competition that he's going to overcome and be like the bestest good boy. In this Otome game. I don't know what that really entails. Does he end up with a girl or something instead of those pretty guys, the Chads of this world? Is like some sort of incel fantasy? I don't know.
Well, and it's funny too, because like I don't know shit about Otome games, but like they put a lot of emphasis, especially in the theme song, because this is like a shonen anime, on like all the women in the show, and it's like, well, as a guy who's played a lot of like dating sims with a male protagonist, there's very few men in those things. It's almost all, if a role could be filled by a woman, it probably is. There's
kind of the protag, and there's like maybe his like horn dog best friend who's like, oh man, you're gonna hang out with all those girls, dude? Hell yeah. I'm so jealous,
Exactly. So it's like, so why so they show all these women. It's like, is he gonna get the harem ending of this Otome game, which shouldn't be possible, but he just knows it so well.
Yeah, because he's 100%ed it and paid for the DLC and stuff.
Yeah, and the whole adventure is it's so dumb. Like he knows the world inside and out. He kills the part where he fights the robot that's like really tough for him to kill. Like, oh no, it's got a magic barrier and my magic bullets don't work.
Yeah.
And the fucking part where he's like, he's about to die. He's like, I won't die here or whatever. And he pulls out his sword and the blade of the sword shoots off the hilt and kills the robot.
Yep.
And there's never any indication that his sword does something other than be a sword.
Yeah.
That's the dumbest bullshit I've ever seen.
Real failed execution of Chekhov's gun sword, I tell you what.
Lamer than a gunblade. Not set up at all.
Exactly.
Stupid as fuck.
And he comes back with like a literal like shipload of like gold and jewels and stuff. Like Looney Tunes, like fucking DuckTales ass looking gold, and goes like, I guess I'm going off to school, Mom. And then he's off to the academy and sees like all the love interests of the Otome game like walking in a pack, and kind of goes like, those fucking guys. Like he's just so angry at him for some reason.
It's so fucking dull. Who is this? I feel like this and a show we'll talk about in a minute. Who enjoys this? Who's like, maybe we're taking it too seriously. Maybe we're thinking about it.
I think we are, like, just by nature of talking about it really to any extent, like beyond like just word for word what happens in the text. I think we kind of are. Like, I don't think it's meant to hold up to that kind of scrutiny. But also, I don't know. That's not the kind of thing I enjoy.
You have immensely talented people like making an anime that looks good, that is well animated, that like at no moment in this show was I like, that looks terrible.
Yeah.
The backgrounds are amazing.
Yeah.
The fantasy world looks great. All the character animations and the way the characters look are really good. There was never that moment that I can think of where I was like, that's a weird looking car. Like everything is to the fucking
very few cars.
Well, but like the airship, the other stuff showed up.
That's true. Yeah,
it all looks really good.
That's
and
a
I'm
good
like,
point.
You know, the show is to the fucking nines on everything, and it's in service of what? If caring about the narrative of this show doesn't matter, if we're overthinking it, why is it being worked on so hard? If this is something
that's a good point.
If someone would make the argument that this is a show that you put on in the background while you fuck around with something else, make it a fucking PowerPoint. Like, why is this show so good looking?
I have some friends.
I hate it.
Some of my really close friends are like way more plugged into the anime world than I ever have been, you know. And I've talked to some of them like, hey, what you watching right now? And rattle off some names. And like, there's some that I'm like, that are kind of this caliber, like, you know, not awful, but like also not remarkable. And it's like, well, I mean, why do you keep like, don't you have better things to do with your time? And like the answer I've gotten a lot of the time is like, yes, it's very formulaic, it's very simple, boilerplate by the numbers type stuff, but I like what I like, they know what I like, and you know, they're just gonna give me kind of new variations on that. It's a comfort thing. And I'm like, yeah, hey, fair enough. You know, I cannot judge anybody for liking garbage. I don't think either of us can, really.
No, that's absolutely fair.
Yeah. So I'm like, you know, I get that, but on the other hand, I totally agree with you. I can't fathom ever putting myself in a brain space where I do like this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's kind of like the inverse of the issues that we had with like Koikimo, right? It's like, okay, I don't understand the mindset of the teenage girl that would enjoy this, and I also don't understand the mindset of the fellow man who would like I feel like I should.
I think I can put myself in the girl Koikimo fans mindset a bit easier than I can with this one, because like the Koikimo thing, again, it's like, okay, attraction to people who are like older and have their shit together, and also attraction to somebody who is so goddamn into you that they won't take no for an answer. Like, I understand both of those concepts well enough. This one, it's like the fantasy that we're serving here is knowing everything and kind of having this power that nobody else could possibly ever have. And then also like just using that to like be better than everyone. You know, it's like I said, like kind of an antisocial angle that I don't really fuck with.
Well, and it's also weird because at the end of the episode, he's like, I'm just a normal everyday mob. And it's like, Fuck you. You're not, dude. If you're a regular mob, does your dad show up with a spaceship every fucking day full of gold?
No.
Is that just a regular ass? It's not. What you did was exceptional.
Yeah.
And you fucking know it. So don't be like, I'm just a regular average. It's like being like, I'm just a regular average everyday Joe who also happens to be a billionaire.
Yeah.
Like, fuck you. You are not, you don't know what I'm going through.
Yeah, no, it's very
You don't know
true.
what anyone's
Yeah.
going through. You are on a different level.
Yeah. Like it's a very simple fantasy being served of like, well, no, because it's like he acts like the deck is stacked against him. It's like, oh, it's so hard to be a man in this world. And there's all these pretty boys who they think they're so much better than me. And all the girls are gonna the three named female characters in this series, it looks like, are gonna flock to them instead. And oh gosh, it sucks to be me. It's a good thing I have the gift of Cassandra and I know everything that's ever gonna happen in this universe. And I know exactly how to manipulate everything to get exactly what I want. Like that. No, that fantasy falls apart immediately. Like you are not the underdog here. You are the god of this world.
Exactly. I was just about to say that. You cannot be the underdog and god. Like it doesn't work that way. There's no part in the Bible where like, oh man, I don't know how God's gonna get out of this one.
That'd be funny if it was. Like,
I mean, yeah.
Hey, give me some tension, right?
But
God's kind of a flat character. Bit of a Mary Sue, might I say. I'm sorry.
He can't do anything, can he? Maybe Bible 2, they'll fix something.
Yeah. They'll finally introduce an antagonist to like on his level. I think that's where One Punch Man manga is. There's someone who's like shaping up to be a challenge for Saitama. Like, where's God's One Punch Man rival?
Right. Well, I mean, maybe that's just Bible 2. You know, it's like you read the Bible, you're like, that was great. Okay, New Testament, One Punch Man.
Yeah. There we go. Sorry to all the Christian otaku out there.
Yeah, we're fine.
Yeah.
Fuck that show. That is terrible.
Fuck that show.
Okay, so then next couple shows I picked thinking they'd be terrible.
Yeah.
Plot twists. They were all right.
Ain't bad. Yeah.
Ain't bad. Honestly, real nice highlight for the night. So the first one we watched that was fucking decent was Don't Hurt Me, My Healer.
Yeah.
I thought it would be another like Isekai fantasy thing, and it was. But it was a really like...
This wasn't Isekai. Everyone was from that world from the get-go. Yeah. This is just a little fantasy thing.
Yeah, and it was... But what was nice about it was... The problem with fucking Trapped in a Dating Sim, and then the one we're going to talk about, Demon Lord Resurrected as a piece of shit or whatever.
Reborn as a typical nobody.
Both of them are in this world where it's so bare bones RPG... And they just expect that to be kind of fun for the people.
Somehow.
Whereas this one is in, we're talking like NES JRPG, like bare bones as possible, and they're just cracking out jokes constantly.
Yeah, and that kind of like bare bones flat setting really works for this. Where I feel like, well, the weird thing about the last one, like you need to get one more kick in on that dead horse, but
no, fuck this dude. We are fucking godfathering this anime.
Well, is in that strangely enough in that fight scene with the killer robot, they go into some weird lore stuff because the robot goes like, "What year is it?" And he's like, "Oh, well,
fuck me." Yeah.
He goes like, "Oh, well, on this calendar," and he's like, "Oh, your answer means that we have lost the war." And he's like, "Oh, yes, the war between these two factions." And the robot goes like, "Yes, the birth of the new humans who are sensitive to the ether flows in the earth and can wield magic." And they're like, they start going back and forth on like this terrible fucking lore building. I'm like, did you think we gave a shit? This is what you think we're here? Oh, yeah, I need to know more about the fucking history of this universe. I can't even give a shit about the person right in front of me. Why do you think I give a shit about the world he's in?
Right, like
one thing at a time.
He's in the robot's hand, about to be crushed. He's spitting up blood, and both of us are like, kill him, yes, let him die. Like, there's nothing they can do at that point other than kill him that's going to make us happy.
Absolutely.
And they go the opposite direction.
Yeah, because of course they do.
But yeah, this show is like, it really is like, let's take this bare bones RPG and let's have some fun with it. Let's have some characters who are dynamic and fun and interesting, and let's just have them make jokes every once in a while.
Yeah,
like genuine, actual jokes.
And they're good. Like
they're good jokes.
It's a good time.
Yeah, like it's all very silly. It's all very light. Like the premise is like there's a warrior and he's fighting a bear.
A bear with a rhino horn.
Bear with a rhino horn. They're magic beasts or whatever.
Magic beast. Yeah.
And he's fighting it and he needs healing. And the healer shows up. He's like, "Help me, healer! Like, give me. I need heals right now." And she's like, "Okay, well, if I'm gonna heal you, grovel before me." And he's like, "What the fuck are you talking about? Like, I'm not gonna grovel before you." And so this girl is like very egotistical, but she's filling her role, and the warrior is like, "You should be healing me. Like, why aren't you healing me?" And it's just very silly.
Yeah, she's got this sort of like real narcissist, like god complex streak about her, but like is trying to play that sort of archetypical healer character, where it's like she's the selfless like giver who like heals everybody and keeps everybody safe, while at the same time like she is like kind of a psycho. And that's a really fun dynamic with this guy who's like, trying really hard to like, do the thing, but also like cannot deal with this bullshit at all.
Yeah. And it's like he yells at her and that makes her mad and like frightened and all. And like there's all these, it's the thing that it gets that these other like kind of isekai shows miss is that there are genuine, like they're playing with the, like they have this basic RPG shell and they're playing with it and they're having fun with it and they're not just doing exactly the same.
Yeah.
Like that, it seems like other shows to me just feel like as long as I'm referencing something, it's funny. And these guys are making actual jokes.
Yeah.
Like,
and when the bear gets involved in it, like, because the bear
starts hanging out.
Yeah. Because at the very beginning, like, the bear is obviously voiced by a human, but it's kind of just going like, ah. And then, like, at one point, the two of them are arguing. The guy, like, multiple times goes like, "Hey, Mr. Bear, could you just, like, give us a sec here?" And the bear's just kind of, like, hanging out. "Hey, do your thing." And then, like, all of a sudden, the bear, like, interjects, like, "Oh, if I could make a point." And all of a sudden, the bear is a player in this comedy.
Yeah. And it's really fun when, like, they're like, the warrior and the healer are just yelling at each other. And then the bear is like, "Listen, you guys are not being civil with one another. You guys need to sort things out." And they start talking to each other like they're in a court. Yeah. Like, "I have an objection to what you just told me." And it's like, oh, that's just so fun. They're still sticking to their characters and whatnot. My favorite joke from the whole thing was at the end when the bear and the warrior are talking to each other and are like, humans and magic beasts can't be friends. So when I see you in the future, like we're gonna have a battle that you'll never forget. And and the two of them are very like clearly still friends. But like we're really gonna fight it out. And the girl shows up like, "No, you guys, after everything that's happened, you guys," and it's like, no, we're joking. Like we're kind of doing a thing. And she's like, "No, you guys, oh, you can't. This bear saved your life. It's your benefactor. Your bear-nefactor." And it's like, oh, that's such like that they include the pun in there, that she doesn't get the thing. There's just like, it's not like a joke a minute. Like the jokes are a little paced out. So it's not like this show's an absolute riot, but God, was it so fucking refreshing.
Yeah. Like it's I don't know the words to say. Like, it's really funny, but not in like a really out loud cuckoo wacky kind of way. You know what I mean? It's really snappy dialogue for sure. Like, and it does that. I know this is like a really common thing, particularly in like Japanese like live comedy, but like it's like two people, like the straight man and the wacky one, and like the warrior being the straight man and the healer being the wacky one, like really 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 works. I think it's like an excellent dynamic that like I wasn't expecting to like nearly as much as I was, but like I like it quite a bit.
I know I went into that full bitter and came out like, that was great.
Yeah, especially coming off of what we were coming off of with that Otome game.
Right.
To go right into this, fully ready to just like rip this thing apart because we're already mad at what we just watched, and coming out like, oh, that was great. Wow.
Yeah, that was really fun. Yeah, it's like people talk about like if you go into something expecting to hate it, you're gonna hate it, right? And we had kind of the opposite. Like, this is probably a show that I will never watch another episode of, but I'm considering it. But it has a lot to do with what we were dealing with prior to it. Just dealing with absolute like trash fantasy stuff.
Yeah.
And just having something that's like, oh, we can have fun.
Yeah.
Like, what a fucking concept.
I had like I was on the same page where I was like, I don't think I'd watch any more of this, but like I think if the dub was decent, I'd probably have this on in the background. This could be a good background show for me.
Absolutely. And I think especially when you're dealing with like puns and jokes like that, if they're doing a good job with the translation, big part of comedy that has always fell flat for me with anime is that someone saying a line and you reading a line are very different things. It's why I don't think most comic books that try to be funny are actually funny.
That's fair, yeah.
Timing is such a huge thing. And if you're unless you're writing a joke that does not require timing, it's going to fall flat. And anime is expecting the timing.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Because it's, it's a visual audio medium and all that. But so yeah, if the dub is decent, I could absolutely see myself watching more of the, because it was just nice.
Yeah,
it was just fun.
Totally, 100%.
They have the same environment that so many animes are in, and they're just like, let's have fun with it. Let's play around.
Yeah,
let's make some good jokes. It's like, I almost forgot what fucking comedy was for a minute.
And I'm kind of glad that it like the jokes all stand within the text of the thing itself. Like they didn't feel the need to like make it be like dude, we're not an isekai, like let's poke fun at all these other, like, it's like I think that everything it does like would stand even like if you knew next to nothing about the like anything that this is based on, with the exception of like I guess the dynamic between warriors and healers, but even they take the time to explain that in the context of the show.
That's a big part of it. It's not referential humor. It's not like Family Guy where it's just making references to things that it is genuine, actual, these are jokes.
Yeah.
There is a setup and there is a punchline.
Yeah.
It works. It's great.
It's great, yeah. I don't think I would like go out of my way to put this on like a lot of the time, but like, if the dub is decent, I could see myself like putting this on during work sometimes, something like
Absolutely.
that.
Yeah, this is a good time.
Yeah.
And then
I'm gonna go pee.
Oh yeah, you go pee. I'm also gonna talk to you guys about Kingdom Hearts. Not a lot of people know this about me, but I'm Sora. I'm actually Sora from that fucking island, and my best friend's Riku. They put bugs in him, but I'm still, we're still chill. We're still tight. And I've got my other friend Kyrie. She's been through a lot, but everybody's still chill. Doll Goofy. Listen, the game kind of brushes over a lot of their darker aspects. I know Disney's gone through a lot to try to rehabilitate these characters, but unfortunately, in a lot of ways, they are still the same guys that they were back then as they are today. So, yeah, necessary evil, you got to stop the Heartless and all that, but I don't know. I mean, especially Donald Duck. He's a real rough guy.
Kingdom fucking Hearts?
Yeah, dude. No, I was just telling people a little bit about what it's like in the Kingdom Hearts world.
Oh, hell yeah. What's it like in the Kingdom Hearts world?
It's tough out there.
It sucks. Right.
Yeah.
It sucks. Which world, though? They go between a lot of different worlds.
They do. Yeah. Yeah, we do. Yeah. It's tough.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next one we were talking about. So we watched that one. We had a really good time. I picked another one because I thought it would be trash. The goal was to pick trash.
Yeah. We were kind of looking for it.
And so we watched Love After World Domination.
Yeah.
Which was kind of a Power Rangers type show where you have the Gelato 5, the 5 color Power Rangers, and they're fighting against villains.
And this and the last two things we've talked about. So like this, the warrior, the healer one, and the Otome. These are all this is all stuff that's like coming out like this week pretty much. Like it's all very new.
Yeah, I think I think this one has 2 episodes. Healer has I think the Healer one only has 1.
Yeah. So this is all spring 2022 stuff, with the exception of the first one we watched, whatever the fuck that was called.
We're cutting edge for the first fucking time.
Yeah.
And we totally did it on purpose. So yeah, this one's it's kind of a Power Rangers fighting villains type one, but the Red Ranger and one of the villains have started dating.
Yeah.
And they're really cute.
They're super cute. I was not expecting, like, I mean, I didn't know anything about this premise like going into it, but like, I wouldn't have expected to like immediately kind of like their relationship as much as I did.
Yeah, because they keep it very, very soft and very light. It's very much like Romeo and Juliet. Like the Power Rangers can't date the bad guys or whatever.
It's like the Red Ranger dating, maybe not Rita Repulsa, but
the big like Chewbacca type guy.
A Goldar?
Goldar.
Yeah. It's the Red Ranger and Goldar. Yeah, okay, sure.
More hot. Goldar,
yeah. What do you mean a more hot Goldar? Goldar as hot as it is. Yeah.
Well, Goldar could have bigger boobs.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, he's a little flat.
Yeah, and so that's the whole thing with it. Is like they in the beginning of the episode they talk about how they haven't held hands despite being on like 3 dates, and then the Blue Ranger shows up. He's like, "We need help." And then as he like climbs over the cliff to see them, they react to make it look like they're fighting.
Yeah.
And they end up holding hands as part of them fighting.
Yeah, they're like grappling with each other.
Yeah, he's like, "Oh, we're holding hands." Oh, and then she like writes it down in her journal. "Oh, first day we held hands."
Yeah.
It's like it's very, very cute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That instant switch from like, they're sitting and like just talking and like sort of a picnic thing. And then like as the guy, like they see the Blue Ranger approaching, instantly the helmets are back on and they're like, actually like fighting. Like, no, I mean, pretending obviously, but like, it looks to the onlooker as though they are fighting to the death kind of thing. It's a really fun kind of dynamic, I think. I would say the very beginning where they start showing the like where the kind of the first subject matter we see between the two of them is them not having held hands made me think that like maybe this is going to be kind of a like not super interesting relationship, because like I think the fun thing of like watching a relationship in any sort of like book, movie, TV show, whatever, is kind of like seeing the characters get to know each other and see the dynamic sort of evolve between the two of them as they understand each other better,
right? Especially with something like My Love Story.
Yeah, totally. I think My Love Story was a great example of that. I think there's some other ones though that I've seen where like the driving force of their relationship is the fact that their relationship is new and they're like, oh, we haven't held hands, we haven't kissed yet, oh, what's gonna happen, like that kind of thing. And like when that's kind of all there is, when both of them are simply thinking of the relationship and not like each other, then that can get really boring. But I think that definitely that's a lot better later, I think, like once we start learning a little more about the two of them.
Well, and it's funny too because like this show has a banger intro.
Oh, it does. Yeah, fantastic.
And, it was one of those things that for me I was like, okay, they're kind of going for a Romeo and Juliet, it's a little cute, whatever. To like that intro comes up, it shows all the characters and everything. It's like, oh, that was actually like really good, and gave me an idea of what this show's really about. That I was thinking like she was the Rita Repulsa, like, hey, I'm trying to conquer the earth, I'm trying to be and it's like she's not the main bad guy, she's just one of them. So it's like I can see their romance actually going somewhere.
Yeah.
Now I'm more on board.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I really like that about this show. Like the intro, and then that like they do seem genuinely really kind of cute together.
Yeah. I think it's really nice. I've seen like some fan comics in a similar vein. Like there was one about Pokemon where like the main character from the 3rd generation of Pokemon, I don't remember, Ruby or whatever, ends up with like a Team Magma grunt, and like they end up dating and like they have to keep it a secret. And like I really like that dynamic, and I wanted to see it explored in like a bigger capacity. And like this show seems to be kind of nailing that, like because they're both dedicated to their respective causes. Neither of them is going to quit for the other one. Yeah, but they're both kind of hoping for a future in which they can be together, like without keeping it a secret,
where they don't have to fight.
Yeah. That's really interesting.
And it's nice too because you have it's very lighthearted. Like all of the Power Rangers are named after gelato.
Yeah, the gelato flavors. Yeah.
Yeah, like the Red Ranger isn't the Red Ranger. He's like strawberry gelato.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they all have flavor related names. I really like the Green Ranger. He's like pistachio, the flavor of peace.
Yeah.
So that was all a lot of fun. And then there's also there was a part where I started to get flashbacks of Koikimo, where the Red Ranger goes to admit that he likes the Reaper Princess, the girl that he's dating in the beginning. They kind of go backwards in time.
I don't remember either of their names, actually.
I don't either, but that he knows things about her. And
oh yeah,
why does he know those things? Well, because she's posted about it on Instagram, and he looked at her Instagram.
Yeah,
you know,
and like he's left comments and stuff like that. Like she just didn't know that the person leaving the comments was the Red Ranger. He's Protein Man is his Instagram name.
He works out all the time.
Yeah, he works out for like several hours a day. He's got big old shoulders.
Yeah, and it's nice because it's like he knows things, and I think looking at someone's Instagram isn't like the weirdest thing. And then if you do think that's weird, immediately after that scene is over, she talks about like, hey, I have this cat. He's like, oh, you have a cat? I didn't know that. And kind of goes out of their way to be like, he's not like stalking her or something necessarily. Like there's still things that they're learning about each other. And she shows him a picture of the cat and all that. Yeah, so it really gave me a vibe that if the one thing that was weird is that when he shows up, he's like, I love you. You know, that's a little strong. I like people admitting their feelings for other people.
I think he says I like it. Well,
no, he says love.
So the thing is, ski, like SUKI, can mean both like and love. It's just like, and not even necessarily in like, you could use that word to describe like a food or a movie that you like. You know what I mean?
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Even if they translate it as I love you, it could easily like be, you know, something more along the lines of like, I have a crush on you, I want to date you, or even just like, I like you as a person. You know what I mean? I think in the context of it, it didn't come across to me like he was coming on too strong, beyond the fact that he just admitted that he has feelings for his mortal enemy.
Right. Yeah. And I'll say it this time, and I've said it in the past, and I'll continue to say it in the future. If you're into somebody, let them know. And if they reject you, then they reject you, and that's totally fine.
And then you got to move on.
And that's
guy
totally
from Koikimo, you got to fucking move on.
My fucking God. Yeah. Yeah. If you feel like, hey, you want to, like, you could go on a date with somebody and this could work out, ask them on a date, you know? And if that doesn't work out, you can still be friends, you know? You know where each other stand.
Yeah.
And so I like this show. I liked that it had all the cheesy Power Ranger stuff. It has all the cheesy villain stuff. It was a lot of fun. And it has this cute romance at the heart of it.
Yeah. Yeah. This is actually, I think when we were talking about it, I said I probably wouldn't continue it. I would be interested in, because, and I think I said this during the Valentine's Day episode, is like so much romance anime revolves around the building, the courtship phase. They meet and then
they can't admit to each other that they like each other.
Exactly. And like usually it's like the guy is too dumb and thinks they're friends, and the girl's like, oh man, I wish he would notice me. And then like eventually they like kiss in the like this final episode or whatever. Like I love it when we can get that sort of thing out of the way in like, you know, in the beginning, and then actually focus on the relationship itself. Or do both. Like, you know, I'm not saying courtship phase is bad. Like, obviously, that's an exciting part of a relationship. But
yeah. But for me, I think the relationship aspect is more interesting than the courtship phase.
We say as two guys in long-term relationships.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. So I like that they spent the time on it. They've explained how they got together.
Yeah.
But are moving on.
Totally. And I'd be interested to see, like, even though this is obviously a comedy thing, they're all named after gelato flavors. I didn't know soda gelato was a thing.
Let's get gelato.
It's time to get some gelato. And they beat the fuck out of a guy on a train. I would be, even though this is like a very obviously like sort of supposed to be like a lighthearted comedy, I'd be interested to see like where we go in this relationship. Not only like the challenges that they face being on opposite sides of a Power Rangers battle, but like, you know, just kind of how that relationship develops and like, you know, what we can make out of this setting. What
are the relationship issues and all that?
Yeah. And just like kind of how, again, seeing how that dynamic changes between the two of them, like as they grow together and like get to know each other. Like they start being really anxious about holding hands. Where do we go from there? Right?
Exactly.
Okay.
It goes from like, oh, I gotta pee a little bit to like a fucking escalation.
Once you break that seal, it's just nonstop.
Exactly.
Yeah. So what's everybody's favorite? There's a lot of Kingdom Hearts talk. So what's everybody's favorite Kingdom Hearts world? I think thinking about Kingdom Hearts 1, I've had this conversation with a few people. I think that Kingdom Hearts 1's world, like just sort of the level design of it is not very strong. I think it's like really until like Agrabah. Like you've got Wonderland, you got Deep Jungle, you've got the Hercules world, which is like 3 boxes essentially, you know. And then what else is there? You got those. You gotta. What comes to see those in Agrabah? I think the Little Mermaid world comes before Agrabah. I could be wrong on that. Hey, sound off in the comments if you got a favorite Kingdom Hearts world. What's your favorite one from 3? Which ones do you hope they put in Kingdom Hearts 4? I've already been seeing a bunch of really stupid ass tweets about what worlds should be in Kingdom Hearts 4. Someone was talking about like I saw somebody tweet today that they should put Columbia, Columbia from Encanto, as though that doesn't take place in a completely fictional village within Columbia. But that would be interesting. I think but I think Encanto was a good movie, so that would be fun to see. Who would be? Oh my God, you could have the sisters. We're at like 2 hours, 13 minutes, and 30 seconds.
What the fuck do these numbers mean? 2 hours?
Oh, those are metric. Oh,
how
yeah,
far?
1:33:30. So
1:30, 1 hour.
2 hours. Oh,
fuck me.
No, 133 minutes.
Oh, fuck me, dude.
Here's the one with the super strength and the one with the flowers. That could be good party members in Kingdom Hearts 4. Encanto.
I didn't see that movie.
Oh, it's good. You should. Yeah, I like that one. I haven't seen Turning Red yet. Turning Red could be a fun Kingdom Hearts world, though. She turns into a big red panda. That could be fun.
You got options there.
Yeah.
Fucking Sora could do it.
Sora could turn into a big red panda.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all big old pandas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck, dude. Okay.
Yeah,
so
it's a little bit of a long one.
Okay, this is going to be a 3-hour episode.
Yeah, well, fuck it. Whatever.
Fuck it, dude.
It's the disaster episode, right?
From go, this has been an episode for us. If you're listening and you're still enjoying it, that's great. This isn't for you. This is for us.
Yeah.
After what we've been through today.
Precisely.
I'm glad I hope you're having fun. But fuck, dude. Okay. This is why it's going to be a 3-hour episode. So, real quick, one thing I want to bring up before we move on to the next one, which we're going to talk about for like a week. The one thing about Love After World Domination, I was thinking about, like in terms of theming, this would be a cute one to show Bernadette. Right? She liked my love story, so another show about a cute romance would be fun. Sure. This show is like tits out, like super hardcore.
Yeah, I forgot that about it. It's like, and it kind of falls into this camp that I'm really not a fan of in anything, anime, games, whatever, where it's like, it's obviously the people making it are trying to like titillate the viewers, like by means of like, showing people in various states of undress. Okay, sure. The fact that none of the characters are in on it, like Princess Reaper, whatever her name is, like she does not seem aware that she is in like straight up fetish garb right now. Like she like just bikini plus a cape essentially.
There are several shots where she swings her flail around and she's just like ass to the camera.
Yeah, exactly.
There is a shot where she swings it the flail with like this big ass chain, and the chain moves, and the only part of her body that moves into frame are her boobs. It is wild.
Only her boobs come into it's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, and like if you're just like a hentai enjoying dude or just an anime fan service dude, like sure, it's fun, it's silly, whatever. And this is all a lighthearted show, so I don't think it's like fuck this show. I'm done. But like, if I show this to Bernadette, I would be surprised if she'd be like, yeah, let's watch episode 2.
Sure. Yeah. No, that's fair.
Even if the relationship themes, she might enjoy I could definitely see all the boobs and ass putting somebody off from this show.
Yeah, and I guess to its credit, like the guys kind of play ball a little bit as well. Like the Protein Man, the Red Ranger. Like there's a pretty long scene of him just like doing various weightlifting stuff. He's doing bent over rows. He's doing fucking military presses. He's doing bench presses. He's doing deadlifts. He's doing the whole nine, right?
Yeah.
And like he's got his big old bulging shoulders and stuff like that. There's when Pistachio Gelato, the green Gelato Green, does his intro. He does his pose with his like spandex clad ass to the camera. You know what I mean? Like it's not only the ladies, but like I don't know, the fact that like nobody's in on the fact that like they are being very actively used as eye candy is like always a little yeah.
I personally don't think that the horniness of the show detracts from its fun themes and fun all that stuff. But if someone was like, yeah, I don't know, the boobs were too much for me, like I would understand.
I think it kind of narrows its audience. Like I don't necessarily even know that it's necessary. Like I don't mind it. I certainly would not go out of my way to watch this like for the fan service.
Yes.
I'm sure there's people who would, but at the same time, it's like everything else is strong enough that I don't feel like it necessarily needs it. And like, hey, maybe that's just what you want to do, whatever. Like, I'm not saying it's wrong for anybody want to put in, like, some people just enjoy drawing sexy bodies. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, I don't know. It definitely, I think it kind of limits its reach.
I think the narrows it audience is a perfect way of putting it.
Yeah.
It's like, it goes from like imagine if My Love Story had scenes where like the girl was like, oh no, my boobs are just bouncing in 8 different directions.
That would have seriously detracted from My Love Story, I think.
Absolutely, yeah. Because it's not really what the core theme is about. And to a lot of people, they're not there for the boobs and butt.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's not what they want out of their entertainment.
Totally.
So. All right. If we don't talk about this show now, this is going to be an 8-hour podcast.
Here we go.
Fuck me, dude. The greatest demon lord reborn as a typical nobody.
Oh man, I
have in big all caps letters in my notes right next to the title. This sucks. Let's not make any two ways about it. This show sucks.
This show does suck. This show is not good.
I don't know how anyone could watch one episode of this and be like, I want more.
Yeah.
Sure would be sick to have more of this. It sucks.
Yeah. It's got kind of both the failings of Koikimo and that Otome game one kind of rolled into one, because it's like we've got this like 7,000-year-old dude who's been reincarnated as let me go. Do you want to do the plot synopsis?
Let me hit it real quick. There's a demon lord who's like conquered the world or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's like, fuck this shit. I don't know if anybody actually loves me. I don't know if anybody actually likes me.
Probably not.
I'm going to go ahead and just reincarnate as a regular guy. And he's reincarnated as his typical guy is he's like 5 years old and he's like, oh, I remember being a demon lord and I know all my magic. And so from age 5 to like 15, he studies everything he can so that by the time he's 15, he's not a typical guy. He's a guy who can like blow up a mountain by thinking about it.
He's 10 in that beginning, actually.
Whatever he's
10 years old. He just remembers everything.
The whole fucking premise is like, I want to just be a regular person. I want to try to get along with the common man.
Typical nobody.
And I want to be a typical nobody.
Yeah.
And he has godlike powers.
Yeah.
And worst of fucking all, he uses them constantly.
Yeah, like,
right?
No question. He like flies in front of his parents and they're like, hey, is that like a forbidden art? Huh. When did our 10-year-old child learn that? Oh, well.
Oh, my fucking God, dude. Like, it is such a frustrating show because it's in no way is the character, like, you could, okay, it's like it's like when the billionaire's like, I want to learn how the common man lives, so I'm going to choose to become a billionaire or choose to become homeless. It's like, who gives a shit? You can go back to your other life anytime you want, right? There's never a moment where he's like, oh man, if only I had my demon powers, then I would be okay, but I'm going to struggle as a common, like, the worst thing that happens is he tries to become friends with people and people are like, I don't want to be friends with you.
Yeah, well, because he talks.
Oh, big fucking shit, dude. I got that because I played D&D. Like, fuck. Like, am I a fucking demon lord? No, I'm a nerd.
Maybe you could be in D&D, maybe,
I could be. I could
up
be
a tiefling enough, But
I played a demon lord in D&D.
There you go. You're halfway there.
But I also can't blow up a bear with my magic.
That's true. Actually, he doesn't even need to blow up the bear. He kills it with a sword. He's just like, this 10-year-old boy. Okay. Also,
my fucking God, dude.
Reborn as a typical nobody, as he says. Born to
what the show's fucking called.
It's what it's called. Born to two seemingly ordinary parents who name him Ard Meteor.
Ard Meteor.
And then he goes and kills a bear with a sword. He just like fucking Kurosawa duels.
And like instantly, like it does not seem like a struggle for him. There's never a moment where he's like, I'm sure I'm going to have a tough time as being this youngster 10-year-old as opposed to my old anime boy body. And he just kills a bear like,
yeah. kills multiple bears in the first episode.
Yeah. Like they're nothing. He doesn't give a shit, dude.
He, at one point, he's frustrated because none of the other kids would play with him because he talks like a feudal lord, which he is. And he starts, like, venting his anger by, like, blowing up mountains and stuff like that. And then stops because he's like, well, I better stop now, otherwise I might permanently alter the local ecosystem. What sort of ordinary, a typical nobody sentence is that? I don't think, short of like, if I managed to find my way into like, you know, several barrels of toxic waste, I don't think I could permanently alter the local ecosystem if I tried. I don't have that ability because I am a typical nobody. I'm just a guy. I'm just a dude.
We are two dudes who, between the two of us, can get our podcast episodes to get 10 views. That is our collective strength.
Yeah, just about.
We can't blow up a fucking mountain. We can't even come fucking close to that. So, like, it doesn't work as a premise for the show where, like, he's gonna go deal with the struggles of the common man.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't have those struggles.
The only challenge he really faces is that nobody recognizes him as the Demon Lord.
Yeah. And he wants to be loved, which is, like, tough shit. Like, you don't just get love because you exist.
Yeah.
You know, like that's not the way this works. So you're not the common man. So that whole angle doesn't work. And then he's so overpowered that it doesn't work from like a One Punch Man kind of perspective where he's like, nobody can challenge me or anything like that. So it's almost like there's two like half jokes and neither of them are funny.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of the whole thing. And like, so, you know, we're faced with this, we're getting into like, you know, later in the episode, or we're faced with this challenge where this guy is unable to make friends because, again, he talks in like a terrifying, like formal, regal sort of way.
Yeah.
And no child likes to be addressed like that, I don't think. He gives permission to these kids playing outside to talk to him freely, and they go like, okay, freak, and then like walk away. Or like he approaches this group of girls and like says some weird period piece shit, and they're like, okay, and like run away. Okay, all of a sudden, even though he has all his Demon Lord powers, those still are not able to get him friends or people who are like willing to socialize with him because they don't realize he's the Demon Lord. He has no clout, right? So he meets the mayor's daughter, who is an elf who's dealing with a lot of racism because she's an elf, which is like a weird thing in anime where it's like, oh, she has silver hair and pointy ears. You know, that's a terrifying thing, I guess. I think ReZero does the same thing. Anyway, so like, all of a sudden there's this person who's like also on the outs of society as you can be as a 10-year-old. And he does end up befriending her, not by kind of like learning to like engage with her on her level, not by being like, oh, like, you know, comparing his issues with her issues and kind of finding some common ground. But no, she gets attacked by goblins and he destroys the goblins. He like erases them from existence, even the ones running away.
Yeah.
And then she's like, oh, we're friends now. Sick. Hell yeah. Like he solves his problem with the very thing that was supposed to be causing this problem. Like this was not any sort of, he learned nothing.
Yes, absolutely. It's like, how do I stop being a demon lord and befriend the common folk? Oh, by being the demon lord.
Exactly. That would not work for anyone other than the demon lord.
Right. And it's such a frustrating fucking thing because it has the aspects of Koikimo where will not let up trying to make her like him. He will not leave her alone, to the point that when the goblins are attacking, he's like, oh no, she's in the mountains because I chased her away.
That is the reason she is there. Yeah.
And it sucks because like also like I kept expecting him to show up. Like she fights monsters kind of throughout the second half of the episode.
Yeah.
And I kept expecting him to be the one to kill the monster for her. And she does it. And so I was kind of expecting her to be like, oh no, a bunch of goblins, let me put my skills to the limit and do this my own way so that the demon lord doesn't have to go full demon lord and ruin the whole premise of the show. Oh, stupid me.
Yeah, like I was fully expecting that part for her. Yeah, like you're saying, like she gets out of it herself, and then like, you know, maybe even gets upset with him for trying. Like, what, you think I can't fucking take care of myself? You think you're so hot shit because you can cast fireball? I'm the same age as you and I can do that shit. You ain't special, you know?
I was thinking part of the conflict was going to be like, oh my god, this person's in trouble, but if I use my demon powers, I've learned nothing. And it turns out that's not a conflict. He just hasn't learned anything.
Yeah.
And that's just how the show is.
Yeah.
Suck my fucking nuts. This show sucks, dude.
And then at the very end of it, we time skip. They've aged 4 some amount of years.
Yeah.
I think 5. Japanese high school starts at 15, so I'm guessing there. And they are now the childhood friend trope. She, like, he's sleeping and she like pops into his room, and then he wakes up and she's like next to him in his bed. They're like super close all of a sudden. And she just kind of mentions like, hey, let's enroll at the Magic Academy. And he's like, sure. And they do that. And here we go. We got a fun little school comedy type romp thing.
Yeah. It's almost like she looks into the eyes of the audience like, hey, don't worry, there's a plot.
Big air quotes on the word plot.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, I don't know. This is another one of those where like, hey, if you're into it, I guess. But this is a like, you know, this is one of those like, we know what the people want, and we're gonna slop this into their trough, and they're gonna eat it up like the nasty little pigs they are. Like, okay,
yeah, this is an exaggerated form of like filling out a government grant.
Yeah,
you know, like you do this and you get X amount of dollars.
Sure,
it's just a fucking guarantee.
And if they make money off of this, maybe they can make something they give a shit about. You know,
maybe, or they'll just make more of this.
Maybe. Yeah, but I can't imagine anybody being like so fired up to make this a reality. You know what I mean?
I know.
Maybe that's just me assuming too much. I don't like to like assume too much of creators and stuff like that. But like, I did not detect any sort of passion, any sort of joie de vivre in this. It's just sort of there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can't imagine someone ever being passionately like. I can't imagine somebody being offended that we don't like this show. I can't imagine anybody just feeling so passionate about reincarnated as a typical guy who's not remotely even. Oh, One Punch Man, you know that typical guy, the guy who can kill anything in one punch. What a normal dude.
Yeah.
What a guy going through just regular ass shit.
Yeah, no, it definitely fails on that premise. And like, there are plenty more. Like anime about a guy, an overpowered guy attending a magic academy with his childhood friend. There's so many better executions of even that super niche premise that I don't think you necessarily even need this one.
Yeah.
Like it's one of those like I can't imagine who it's for, but I know someone's out there watching it. You know, so. Yeah. You know, more power to you, I guess.
Yeah.
If it's
your jam, it's your jam.
Yeah.
Whatever. We just hate you.
Yeah,
so.
Exactly.
All right. Let's wrap this shit up. Let's get out of this nightmare realm.
Hang on, I gotta go pee again.
And by nightmare realm, I mean talking about Kingdom Hearts. Hey. Folks, when I said I was Sora, I wasn't entirely being truthful with you. We've had a lot of fun tonight. You've made it this far. You should know the truth. I'm not just Sora. I'm Mickey Mouse. Like I know it's part of the Keyblade code that I have to. I can't tell most people this, and that's why I feel very comfortable telling you this. If you're hearing this, I want you to know everybody else who listens to this podcast is not hearing the words coming out of my mouth. They're hearing something about, I don't know, fucking Heartless or some other dumb bullshit. But you right now, you're the only person in the world hearing this. I'm Mickey Mouse. I am him. I'm gonna save the world from fucking Ansem or Nortman or whatever, and oh boy, so root for me in Kingdom Hearts 4. But I will. You guys should know I've talked with the parties involved and everything that's happening, and it's only going to go to 5. 5's the final one. So just letting you guys know, hey, what's up, dude?
Hey, I didn't hear any of that. What about Kingdom Hearts?
No, it's all good. I just let people know that I'm really excited for playing through the first one again.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be sick.
That's gonna be a good time.
Yeah. All right. Our suffering never ends. Our atonement for some sort of past life is here to stay with us forever. We watched Attack on Titan Junior High.
Yep.
As our final one. It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. It's. I mean, so much of it is just rehashes of scenes from Attack on Titan,
yes.
but like with lower stakes. Like the Colossal Titan shows up, kicks in the wall to the school, and then a bunch of Titans come in and eat everyone's lunches. Yeah. And then Eren vows his revenge against the Colossal Titan who eats his lunch. But he's fine. Everyone's fine.
Yeah, everybody's fine. His mom is still very much alive.
Yeah, she's not really involved. She's like at the very beginning of the episode, and they go like, "Oh, see you later, mom." And then there she is. She's fine.
Yeah, it's very lighthearted. It's it's got a couple fun bits. Like I like the part where they go to middle school and they go to the Titan side of the school, so everything's fun. Really big. And like Eren has a big old eraser dropped on him.
Yeah, that's funny.
There's a couple fun bits. The part where the show completely falls apart is when they're just doing straight up referential parts of the show, but the joke is that it's at a school instead of fucking nightmare apocalypse.
Yeah, but the school is also supposed to be like a quasi like kind of like the Survey Corps training, it seems like, or the military training, because like the trainer is the same. They have the whole like beat for beat the same scene where Sasha is eating a potato, but this time she's eating a rice ball, and he asks her like, "Why are you?"
They're called donuts. All right. I watch Pokemon.
She's eating a jelly donut.
She's eating a jelly donut.
Yeah, she's eating a what was it? A spicy salmon jelly donut. And then he asks her why she's eating that jelly donut. And she's like, "You mean as opposed to this other type of jelly donut?" And he's like, "No." And then it's like, do the same thing. She offers him half, and then he's like, "I don't want half of these. Don't eat in class."
Which is like rewatching Attack on Titan season 1, where she's eating a potato and he's like, "What are you doing?" And she just offers him half the potato. I was like, that's a weird scene, but it's kind of memorable. My initial thought wouldn't be, well, what if we dragged it out and made it a whole thing?
I swear the middle school version lasts longer. Yeah.
Yeah, like the whole thing is like Sasha wants to eat a lot of food and will do anything to do that.
Yeah.
And they sell it in one of the only times of brevity in fucking Attack on Titan is that scene.
Yeah, and it's like, it's a sort of like much needed comic relief. Like not to necessarily say it was a perfect execution of comic relief in the original show, but like, it's like, okay, this has been real serious. Here's a funny little moment.
Sells the character.
Yeah, and like it does a lot to build. Again, it does a lot to build Sasha as a character. It's like, okay, this is somebody who like is very food motivated, and like by that you can kind of tell, like, that, and like the fact that like, I think originally she says something like, "Oh, they were going to throw it out," or something like that. I can't remember exactly what it was. But like, it's like, okay, food scarcity is important to her. Like you kind of get that immediately. Yeah. Like this is somebody who's probably been in a situation where she couldn't always eat, right?
And they've talked about it prior to that, where they sent out a bunch of soldiers prior to go die so that they would have enough resources and food.
Oh yeah. They've been refugees for a while, years.
So it's not just like a little funny bit, but it's also like, it is explaining the how someone would think about things.
Yeah, it's like the world at large, and also Sasha as a character. It means something. But yeah, the middle school version of it is like that exact same scene without any of the signifiers. It's just like, yeah, she was hungry, I guess, because Eren ran into her earlier and she dropped her watermelon.
Yeah.
So, well, okay. She was carrying a watermelon to school. I don't know why.
I know, and they had a bunch of bits where Eren kept running into people, and like it was kind of funny, but it wasn't fun. The parts where it wasn't just straight up referential of Attack on Titan, pretty funny, right? Where like he runs into a girl and he's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Here's money," and he gives her 10 yen. It's like a penny, it's like nothing. And she's like, "What the fuck?" And then he runs into Potato Girl, Sasha, and she's holding a watermelon, breaks the watermelon. It's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Here, take this." And it's like a fucking sticker.
Yeah. And then he runs into John.
Those are good, funny little bits. You know? Yeah, he runs into John and he doesn't even feel bad.
He's like, whatever, and keeps going.
Yeah, fun, good little bits every once in a while. And then they do an Attack on Titan bit, and it's like an extended scene, and it is very boring.
The opening theme song like bit of this show, as referential as it was, I think was kind of the highlight, because it's like, oh, this is cute. Like, you know, it's a redo of, you know, because it's the kind of reference that, like, you know, kind of it's a little more entertaining, you know, I think, partially because of, like, the extra production value that goes into it, and also the sort of, like, you know, the juxtaposition of, like, this is something that was really serious and now we're doing kind of a jokey version of it, like, really worked a lot better in that sort of context than it did, you know, in a 20-minute or 17-minute episode.
Yeah.
This should have been a 5-minute short. This should not be 17 minutes.
Yeah, it was like shorter than a regular anime episode, but
by a few minutes.
Not enough.
Yeah.
In going to something that you said, not about this episode, but I think about the Demon Lord show, was that I think you said something along the lines of, like, I miss when you could recognize that something was going to be trash, right?
I did say that about it. I think it was
I think it was.
I think it was the Otome one.
Yeah, so trapped in a dating. I think you said it about trapped in a dating sim, but it definitely felt true during that, and it also felt true during, like, and this show. It's like, this is unnecessarily well done, you know, like, back in the day, like, if a show sucked, like, it would reuse shots constantly, it would have all these little issues, you know, like, you would see animation issues, and these days everything just kind of feels really well done and also sucks, you know. Not to go full boomer, but
yeah, I mean, like, and I think that's just sort of like the advancement of technology around animation and stuff like that. It's like it's cheaper and quicker to make a decent product, like, above a certain, like, minimum line of quality, and that's a good thing, right? Like, but, like, at the same time, like, you look at something and it's like, well, I mean, it looks very similar to everything else, but, like, it doesn't necessarily look bad. Whereas, like, there's some other stuff that looks bad, and you're just like, okay, this is gonna be trash, and, like, you know, and hey, maybe it's still enjoyable on some level, but, like, looks like trash.
Yeah, it's been a minute since I've seen something that's, like, decent, like, supposed to be good, and has had bad animation, right? Like, the shows that I can think of that I have not enjoyed their animation have kind of been more on the motion comic side, and those things I'm like, well, it's
like Way of the House Husband kind of thing.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah, I figured.
Where I was like, this is kind of good, but I just don't like the animation for it.
Yeah, like, motion comics are kind of a weird thing where it's like, I don't care enough about voice acting to, like, need that. Like, if it's just going to look like the manga, but, like, with voice acting and color, I'm fine just reading the manga.
Yeah, and, like, and I bought the first volume of Way of the House Husband.
Oh, nice.
And I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun
because it's the same jokes.
Yeah,
you know, and it was a good time.
That part where he buys his wife something, like, you know, as, like, a nice thing, but, like, she already has that, and so he goes to cut off his pinky as, like, recompense, and she has to stop. That's hilarious. Like, that's a really good bit, but, like, it being a motion comic did not add anything to it. So back to Attack on Titan Middle School, or whatever the fuck it's called. I think the big place where this fails is, like, Attack on Titan. I think we can both agree. I would hesitate to call it as a complete package good, but I would call it interesting.
Yes.
The strength of Attack on Titan, and we talked about this already. The strength of Attack on Titan is not its characters. Like, Eren and Mikasa and kind of Armin are, like, interesting enough. They serve their purposes. Everyone else is kind of set dressing. Like, Sasha likes food. Jean is kind of there. Connie is a little stupid and also just kind of there. Who else even? Annie is around. She's the female Titan. She's a little serious, I guess. Reiner is a strong guy. You know, they, like, three word descriptions work fine for any of these characters.
Hey, this is Stew from the future, filling you in on a big chunk here that's going to be cut out. We talked for like an hour about season 4 of Attack on Titan and got pretty drunk, or at least I did. So the idea was initially that we were going to upload it as like a little mini episode attached to this, because it's full of spoilers and things like that. It's also a pretty niche group of people who would want to listen to us talk very drunk about Attack on Titan. In listening to, I haven't listened to the whole thing, but in listening to it, we may or may not upload it because it's not great. Mostly I'm just really angry and I talk over Bakari a lot, and that's not ideal. So I think we're probably gonna table the Attack on Titan discussion for a future episode and not upload it, even though we were pretty convinced that we were gonna upload it if you listen to the rest of this episode. If we don't upload it and you're dying to hear it and you know me, you're Charlie or somebody, I'll send it to you. But from what I've heard of it so far, it's not great. Anyways, so it's going to cut ahead. It might be a little bit weird, but yeah, this is us wrapping up the episode after an hour-long discussion of Attack on Titan. I don't know why we did this. I don't know why we do these things to ourselves. Holy fucking shit. Why do we watch anime, Bakari?
I don't know. It's fun.
What do you like? Genuinely, what is the thing that draws you back to anime?
I think anime is like kind of one of, as far as like visual media goes, it's kind of the most out loud you can get, I think. Like, Sophie, God rest her soul, said something along the lines of like, pop music is supposed to be as like bright and loud as you can make music. And like, I think I kind of think something the same like about anime is like the emotions are big, the action is big, like everything is huge and unambiguous a lot of the time. And I really like that about it. Like it's as, just intense. There's a sort of intensity to it that I don't find in any other like sort of visual media.
Yeah, I'm with you. There's something kind of beautiful about the level of control that a creator can have about it. You know, where it's like, if a character is heartwarming and smart, maybe they wear red clothes. If they are, sad, they wear blue clothes or something. Like the level of visual control you can have over anime, and the things you can dive into, and the stories you can tell through anime are really incredible.
Yeah. And I think that's like, on some level true of like animation writ large. But I feel like once it's past like a lot of animation kind of just across the board, like once it is past a certain demographic, like once you're making animation for someone older than like 13, for instance, like older than, Disney movies and Cartoon Network and stuff like that. A lot of the time, like, we kind of tend to regress into this sort of like, what's the word? Not sarcastic, facetious, this sort of like, this sort of like facetious and inauthentic sort of thing where it's like, oh, we got to make it kind of ugly and kind of garish, and we got to throw in a bunch of dumb, like, fuck jokes to make sure everybody realizes that, like, we don't really like, we're not doing animation because we love the way that it looks or anything like that. We're doing it to like as a means to an end, or like maybe even just ironically or something like that. Like there's very few like animated series aimed at non-children that aside from like anime that I've seen like that are the way they are because they think that's the best way to tell a story. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that's the beautiful thing of that anime's hit, in that some adult shows have hit or some cartoons have hit.
Yeah.
But by and large, anime, where it's like you can tell a story that's outside of something that's just the scope of like a child's story.
Yeah.
Not every cartoon needs to be Dora the Explorer,
Yeah. And even anime that's like kind of aimed at like a younger audience, like, a lot of shonen and stuff like that. Like in the context, in the text takes itself seriously. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like the appeal of it isn't that like it's funny, haha, or something like that, or like it's that like what's going on is cool. Like it's cool to see what's going on, like in the text of the anime and stuff like that. And I think that's really, and like it's not even explicitly an anime thing. Like it's not exclusively a Japanese thing for sure. Yeah. There's like American, French, Chinese, Korean series that like do a lot of that kind of stuff too.
Yeah.
Right. But like anime has built such like a community and an industry around it that I think like not a lot of other like styles of animation have reached yet, and I hope they do. I think absolutely. Avatar: The Last Airbender is dope. I think The King's Avatar is dope. I think like there's plenty of other stuff out there that I think is dope, and like I'd like to see industries form around it. It's not a anime exclusive or a Japan exclusive thing. Yeah, that's just the sort of epicenter of it right now, I think.
Yeah, it's like with J.R.R. Tolkien. and The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. It's like he has some quote that's like, I've been forever happy to be correct in the fact that adults enjoy fantasy as well.
Yeah.
You know, that anime does scratch that itch, that not everything needs to be Breaking Bad or the fucking Shield or whatever, that where we're dealing with just strictly real people or whatever. That,
yeah.
Like, let me deal with orcs. Let me deal with zombies. Let me deal with these sort of situations because they do have meaning and they do have impact on these characters' lives, and things like that.
No, I think you really hit something there. Yeah, like because so much like so much media that's like kind of aimed at adults, you know, be it movies or TV or books or what have you. Like, you know, usually like as adults, I think like a lot of the time it's easy to like require some sort of like realism, verisimilitude, you know, to what we're consuming. It's like, you know, if something seems unrealistic, then, you know, we're like, oh, that wouldn't happen, you know, like, you know, on some levels, right? Like, you know, it's what you can convince people is realistic, not what is actually realistic, right?
Yeah.
So, and I think it's really nice to see something that just completely does away with that. Like, you know, why can this person jump 30 feet in the air without bending their knees? Because I fucking said so. Who cares? You know?
Yeah.
Like,
just enjoy it.
Exactly.
Really cool
yeah. Like the price of admission is, you know, acknowledging that these things can happen in the text of the series, and that's fine. You know, that suspension of disbelief. Yeah, I think that sort of does that in a way that nothing else does right now. I mean, it's cool.
And I to bring it home, I think that's our frustration with a lot of the anime we watch today. Is that, maybe some of it was maybe outside of our usual tastes and whatnot, but animation can do so much, and you can tell so many unique stories. Why tell exactly the same story as somebody before you? You know, don't just remake Evangelion and just expand. Do something different, you know, genuinely different. And make the style different. Make the animation different.
Yeah.
You know? There's so many avenues you can go. Why just do the same thing other than it's the safe option?
On the other hand, I don't necessarily dislike iterative media like that. Like, say, Stardew Valley versus Harvest Moon, right? Same thing, but, like, a little different, right?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, like, it served very, like, you know, kind of different purposes. Like, Stardew Valley definitely has its own, like, you know, space in the farming sim world, right? But, like, you know, it's very based on Harvest Moon. I think the same thing was, like, if you're going to follow in someone else's footsteps, that's fine. It doesn't need to be like, you know, some sort of new innovative thing that pushes the medium forward.
It's what I'm
That's kind of a thing. Yeah, that's kind of the bottom thing is like, you know, if you're going to do the same thing someone else did, sure, fine. But like why should I watch your shit if it's going to be the same thing and have nothing else, like, you know, no other selling points to it, you know?
Yeah, like, because, like, to me, it's like, okay, if you like Super Mario, hell yeah.
Yeah.
You know, enjoy Super Mario.
Yeah.
But the people who liked Super Mario, like, the people who made Mega Man aren't like, well, let's just make a Super Mario clone and call it a day.
That'd be interesting if they did.
They added a gun. They added all these fun little things, you know. You take what exists and you kind of expand on it. You find a fun way to do it. And if Mega Man was just Mario again, we wouldn't talk about we would never talk about Mega Man.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's true.
We would talk about, you know, Super Hank or whatever, the fucking Mario clones that came out that nobody fucking played, nobody gave a shit about.
Sure,
you know?
sure.
You expand on it. You make something a little different. You know? And so much of this shit that we fucking watched today was just derivative as fuck.
Yeah.
You know? And if it was derivative, it was just derivative without any sort of care. Like, no, you'll watch this schlock.
Yeah.
We don't give a shit. Like, we know you're a garbage person. We know you'll eat whatever. Like, when you watch something like Don't Hurt Me, My Healer or something, that's something that's like derivative and playing with it.
Yeah.
You know? As opposed to like what it could have been where it's like, I'm the warrior. Okay, I'm the healer. I'm going to heal you. Now we will become friends. I sure do hate goblins. Like,
yeah.
Who gives a shit?
Yeah. It's I've heard it said of, like, you know, anime in general is, like, you know, largely considered to be like pulp media, which I think is pretty accurate. And it's like, you know, one thing about that is like there's very little expectations in terms of like quality and like depth of it. And so you can kind of make this like, you know, this sort of like same old schlock again and again. And like, you know, that's just anime. That's just how it is. And that's fine. Like, you know, not everything has to be the fucking Iliad or whatever, but like at the Iliad is a weird benchmark. I don't know why.
No, I liked that.
Yeah,
that was
sure.
Good. Yeah. Fucking everybody should compare themselves to Greek media.
Yeah. If you're not doing what Homer did, what's even the point, right?
Well, yeah, to be fair.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, like, you know, not everything has to be like, you know, this great high-minded thing. Sometimes, you know what? Sometimes people just like to see a nicely drawn ass. You know what I mean? And if that's what you're into, more power to you, man. Like, go for it, right? Yeah. Like, that's fine. But I don't know.
But if you're gonna have an ass in your show, make it a good ass. You know?
Yeah.
Don't just put an ass. Whatever. It's an ass. People eat it up. Like, make it a good fucking ass.
Yeah.
You know?
Sure. You know, we're always striving for a better ass.
Listen, that's all I want out of the world. You know?
It's better asses.
Yeah. Well, you know, I mean, if you're gonna do something, do it right.
Yeah.
Do it well.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not just trying to talk about butts. If you're talking about like making a good show or whatever, like do a good job with it. You know, don't just fucking phone it in.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well,
let's wrap
wrap this
up
before I do the 8th fucking pee break of this 9-hour episode.
There you go. No, we're just about to we hit 4 hours now.
Oh, good,
there it is.
Good. All right. Well, then I'm gonna pee.
There you go.
God,
you thought you were done. Oh my God, it's fucking 9:20. Jesus Christ, we started recording 4 hours ago. The sun was out when we started recording. Jesus. Okay. I've never done a Kingdom Hearts level 1 run. That's something about me. I've never, ever, ever used the, what's that called? The EXP limit, whatever the fuck. The thing that makes it so that you don't gain XP. I've never used it. Not once in my life. Is that fun? I feel like you just keep wailing on the same guys forever and ever. You know what I mean? Like your attack power doesn't go up. Enemies' health bars are going up. And you just fucking beating on these dudes forever. I don't know. Maybe I'm just not good at Kingdom Hearts. I guess I'm not. I'm not good at Kingdom Hearts. It's just it's one of those. I like Kingdom Hearts a lot. I've played a bunch of them, almost all of them. I haven't played the mobile game, and I haven't played. Recoded. I haven't played Kingdom Hearts Recoded, and I haven't played the rhythm game, Melody, whatever the fuck that one's called. I played every other Kingdom Hearts. I played 358 over 2 days. I played Birth by Sleep. Played Chain of Memories. Played Re-Chain of Memories. Played 1, 2, 3. I haven't played the Kingdom Hearts 3 Remind DLC just yet. What other Kingdom Hearts? What other Kingdom Hearts are there, Stu?
Chain of Mysteries.
Chain of Memories. I played Chain of Memories.
2 days.
358 over 2 days. I played that one.
2.
No, I only played 2. There was a 2? There was the second one?
There was 2. Kingdom Hearts 2.
You know, I never played the weird board game, like, side mission thing in Birth by Sleep. I never got through there.
Dude.
It was
you're missing out because I totally did that.
You did? Yeah, on the PSP?
Totally. 100%.
Crazy.
Totally.
Damn. Yeah, I need to do that.
Oh, totally. Yeah. All right. Let's end this fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
I can't believe we recorded as long as we did.
I know.
No, I can.
It was bound to happen eventually. I had to get this out of our system.
Listen to the Attack on Titan episode that's going to come out a couple weeks after this one. It's or don't. I don't give a shit. Attack on Titan is a nightmare that will forever infect our lives.
Yeah.
And if we don't talk about it, I'll die.
Yes.
And them's the breaks.
It is what it is, folks. So this is an interesting episode. This is an odd one, but I kind of like it.
Yeah. Well, we said it would be a disaster episode, and if anybody disagrees, what are you doing with your life? This was definitely bad. Deal with it. Dude.
Yeah.
Come on.
Fuck it.
But if you enjoy our voices,
hey, then you got 4 hours of content. Hey, look at you. Winner.
Wow.
Yeah.
You just enjoy the hell out of this podcast.
Yeah. Yeah.
Way to go. You did it.
Congratulations.
You've earned the S rank.
Yeah.
You're welcome. Bakari, how can people track you down? How can people find all the cool stuff you do?
You can hit me up on twitter.com/8 the number 8 Mammoth. You can also find me on SoundCloud. SoundCloud.com/OctoMammoth, OCETO Mammoth. That's it. I'm working. I've started work on an album recently. So I'm not going to be posting anything I'm working on my SoundCloud, which means my SoundCloud's going to be woefully out of date. But eventually there will be a whole bunch of new songs. So look forward to that eventually.
Hey, I like that.
Yeah.
For me, I'm Hentai Pizza Lord on Twitter. If you thought we were gonna do Kids on the Slope, gotcha.
Get fucked, dude. Eat shit.
Yeah, follow me on Twitter. I make one post about our mistakes. Eventually there will be a different Twitter you can follow, but
there you go.
Deal with this for now.
Yeah.
We've got big plans for the season 3 of Battle School Dropouts.
That's right.
So that'll be sick.
That's right.
When that comes, but that's gonna be like July. So
yeah, that sounds
whenever we do X Arms 2 or something.
Yeah, we gotta find a follow up for X Arm. Yeah, it's gonna be tough.
Yeah. I mean, that was our 1 year anniversary. We did Gargantia on the Planet or whatever, and then we did X Arms. So if you only watch one episode a year, fuck, man.
Yeah,
we really
rough.
have a lot to build up to.
Man, I remember when I first watched Gargantia, I was like really hot on it. I was like, this is sick. This is anime. It's so great. And then when we watched it for episode 1, it was like, it's rough. I mean, there was some good parts about it.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's how I felt about X Arms. You know, I was
fair.
like, oh, this is the best anime ever made. And then, lo and behold, it wasn't that good.
One of those things, you watch it by yourself, you think it's great. You watch it in front of friends, you're like, oh man, what am I doing?
So tough.
I had the same thing with Weekend at Bernie's.
Wait, does Weekend at Bernie's not hold up?
Oh, dude, I watched Weekend at Bernie's for the first time in like 8th grade, and it was the single funniest thing I ever saw. And then I watched it with my mom like 2 weeks later, and it wasn't even a matter of like, oh, I'm watching a sex scene with my mom. Like, it just sucked. I was sitting there like, this is not funny. What was I thinking?
Damn.
It didn't hold up for 2 weeks, much less. How old was I in 8th grade? 12?
Well,
13.
I'll just say this because it's definitely a truth.
Much less 17 years later.
I saw it at 20, and oh boy, did I think it was pretty good.
Yeah. I mean,
so you're done for, dude.
I think it's one of those that like the first time
only
it's
30
great,
now.
the second time and on, it's not. Like
Yeah.
maybe this far after, maybe I would enjoy it now. I don't know.
Bring
Maybe
it back, you know.
Weekend at Bernie's Battle School Dropouts episode. Stay tuned.
Weekend at Battle School Dropouts.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's where we have somebody else do the podcast for us. And they just hold us up in chairs.
Yeah, perfect. We'll just, Bernadette and Felicia will just do an episode, and we'll just like be held hostage somewhere.
Yeah, no, I mean that's the inevitable Degrassi episode of the Battle School Dropout.
I think so. Yeah. It's the April Fool's next year or something. Who knows?
No, I mean, there's nothing we can do about it. We're under constant threat from our girlfriends.
Yeah.
So sorry, everybody. We're too weak.
Hey, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
Couple of gamma males over here.
Ooh.
Yeah, not even beta males.
I'm more of an X-ray male.
You think so?
Yeah.
Oh, I think I'm approaching Sierra male personally.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's a pretty powerful one.
I think so.
None of it really makes any sense.
I don't know, man.
The only thing I know about different types of males is that if you're a Sigma male, you better talk about how you're better than an alpha male 24/7.
That's the important part.
That's what makes a Sigma male a Sigma male.
Otherwise, how is everyone going to know that you're a Sigma?
Right. And if you're an alpha male, you better talk about how you're an alpha male every day and that Sigma males are bullshit.
That makes sense.
And as long as you two are fighting,
we're all winners.
Then we're all winners. Then clearly men are winning and that nothing else stupid is happening.
Yeah. Them's the breaks, folks.
Them's the breaks.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, enjoy this episode of Battle School Dropouts. We ended up turning this into 2. So there's this weird episode, and then in a couple of weeks we'll have the Attack on Titan part that I'm cutting from this fucking episode.
What a bargain. Yeah.
What a bargain.
2 for 1.
2 for 1. You're welcome.
Yeah.
So yeah. If you enjoyed this podcast, if you really had a good time, come to our house and fucking murder us because I'm over this shit.
Please.
We watch garbage and I'm ready for dinner.
That's all. But that's all, folks.
Next episode will be Kids on the Slope.
No,
episodes 1 through 7. It won't.
I don't believe in anything
I'm just gonna
anymore.
say it because that's what we said for the fucking last one.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get I'm gonna buy those episodes on eBay tonight.
I want to buy a gun.
I'm just gonna fucking just end it, dude. I'm fucking end this podcast. I'm good. Fuck this shit.
Okay, here we go.